than the bikes do.
Yeah, well, in some cities. Hey, if you caught this part of the video, you caught the live unedited edition, Home Gadget Geeks. It is December 20th, 5 days before Christmas, and we're excited to be here tonight. Addie Salcido's coming. She's going to be a few minutes late, but we thought we'd turn on the live stream. So if you're catching this and you're not live and you're like, okay, when are they going to start the show? It's okay, hang tight. Just maybe zip ahead a little bit until you see Addie, and then you can jump in there. So welcome, Brian and Quasi. Good to see you guys. We were just talking a little bit about the new trend here in the United States of scooters. Did that start here? Those scooters, did they start here in the U.S. or was that?
That's a good question.
Start somewhere else?
I think they started here, but I honestly don't know.
Okay. Merry Christmas, Brian. Good to see you out there. I am struggling with a cold tonight. I thought I had it under control. I don't know. It's going to be a long night, Mike. I'm just gonna say, not here on the show. This will be good. I'll stretch this out as long as I can. I have a late night endeavor I got to do tonight, and then tomorrow a little performance review at work. Although I got my scores back from, we do an internal customer, we rate each other at Gallup.
Okay.
And so if you work with somebody during their administration period, you can rate them, and did pretty well again. So
good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, not bad. So
very nice.
It's I don't think I'm gonna have any problems, but you know how it is. You're always thinking, I always think I'm this far away from getting fired, all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's it. I'm out. I'm gone. They're gonna fire me.
Well, me and my boss always joke about it because we do we have semi-annual reviews, but then my boss likes to have monthly just one-on-ones just to kind of catch up, and stuff. And the running joke, and I'll walk in and she's like, "Oh, where's your box?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot it." I'm like, "Do you have an extra one?" She's like, "No, you got to bring your own box." And so
gotta bring your own. Don't bring.
So the
too
moment
many
she
things
doesn't make that joke, that's when I know I'm in trouble. Yeah. So
don't bring too many things into work.
Yeah. I'm going to go check on one thing real quick. Give me 10 seconds.
No worries. So Brian, sorry that you're on vacation and you're sick. My vacation starts Monday. I'm going to take Monday through the next Tuesday off. And I've been healthy all year. And then of course, as soon as Christmas comes along, I have all next week off. So I'm hoping to shake this thing this weekend. I've got a massage scheduled for Saturday. So I'm hoping that'll just kind of work it all out. Get it all out.
Alcohol kills the germs. You're supposed to drink when you're sick.
Oh, shoot. I better get a beer if that's the case.
In college.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
All right. So I'm actually what I just went to go check on for a few of you in the chat room. My R710 I had used as kind of a storage server, essentially. It did some other stuff too. I had it running some other programs, but I then switched over to Unraid and I kind of built my own box for that. And so the Dell kind of R710 I actually had powered down for the last few weeks, just trying to figure out what the next use case for it was. And so I got to thinking, I was like, well, I could fire it up as a secondary Unraid box and almost just use it as a backup to the first one. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just went to go over and check it, because the one thing about the Dell R710 though is it has that PERK6i RAID control in it, which doesn't allow it to do a JBOD, or it doesn't allow just to pass the disks on themselves to the operating system. So you got to set up essentially a virtual disk for every single disk and then just set it to RAID 0. And then of course it's got to initialize each one of those virtualized disks. So right now it's running through the initialization process. And then once that fires up, then we'll be able to get the second Unraid box up and going. So that'll be kind of nice. I think with what I have in there now, I'll have about 3.5 terabytes of space, which will be enough to back up one of my main shares on my Unraid box. My Unraid box has 10 terabytes in it currently. And I think my main share on there, that's actually my stuff I would want to keep around in case something happened, is only about 2. So should be good there. But yeah, getting that initialized. So we'll be able to go after the show, have something to do.
I got a good backup story.
Yeah. So, we had one in the chat too, or in the Facebook group too.
Yeah. It's similar. In fact, Kyle's story kind of inspired me to this. So, a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that the Drobo, took a crap and it had movies on it, which I was a little disappointed. Like at first I was like, there was really nothing on there. And then I'm like, oh no, I had like 2 terabytes of movies that I'd ripped on there. And that's okay. I mean, I still own all the DVDs and
right.
the ones I didn't own, I shouldn't have had anyways. Right. So yeah, a little karma there. And then it's not a big deal. And then nobody watches them anyways. Like I own them and I catch the kids or Sarah renting them and like we own
it's on the media server.
Come
on guys.
Anyways, so and then I thought I had a file for Sarah and for Sammy that had been on the Drobo for the longest time and they could connect to it through on the network and stuff. I thought those were gone, so I had to do that walk of shame where I said, hey, remember that folder that I told you I'd back up? And yeah, it's gone. She's like, oh, I was like, is there anything in there? And she gives me that look, I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. And I was so mad at myself because I'm like, I talk about this backup stuff. I had a freaking podcast about it.
Right.
And yet I lose more data that way than anybody. So Kyle posts to the Facebook group the other day. And I'm like, all of a sudden I was thinking, maybe I moved those somewhere. So I peeked over at the Moro data box. I had moved them off the Drobo onto the Moro data box.
Smart.
Yeah.
So and
I just forgot. I forgot that's where I'd put them. So there
you love that when you outsmart yourself. You're like, man, I am smart.
I didn't have to. Well, no, I'm dumb because I couldn't remember that I was smart. You're like, God, why am I such an
But
idiot?
You have them.
They are there. They are.
Well, that was my thing because when you told me your Drobo, what got me thinking about, just because like I said, when you were up, I was telling him I was trying to find another use case for the R710 when I moved all my storage to Unraid. And I'm like, something like what happened to Jim could easily happen to me. Yeah. Or, I only run one parity disk in Unraid. Something could happen when I go to rebuild and I don't do any offsite backup. I haven't set it back up yet. I haven't wanted to deal with the upload. I'm like, okay, I could at least prevent the thing that happened to Jim. Like fire flood, you're right, I'm done for. But all of my important stuff, my photos and all that, that's backed up in the cloud. But I was like, so it's worth it, right? That machine's just sitting there not doing anything. Put Unraid on it and then just essentially have them, mirror each other for that share. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's a little power hungry for that. So I think I'm going to only maybe power it up, let it sync once a month, just so at least I would have maybe the last month's worth of stuff, which honestly, my main share of things I don't want to lose doesn't change too often. I might add a few files to it here and there. Most of the rest is stuff that I could lose and it's somewhere else.
There comes Addie. There she is. Hey, Addie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Sorry, I'm a little late.
Oh, no worries. I told you, don't worry about it. I do start when I have complete control over everything. I am top of the hour, like ka-chink. But it's Christmas and I don't feel well. Right after I talked to you last night, as I was leaving, I just started not feeling well, And then this morning I woke up and I'm like, well, okay, maybe I'll just shake it as I go to work. And I'm in a meeting at about 10:30. Mm-hmm. And somebody goes, hey, are you here? And I was like, oh, it's that obvious, huh?
Yeah, someone asked you,
Yeah, like, are you here? So I was like, I think it's time to go home. I needed to, so I bailed. I had somebody coming in at 11. I didn't want to miss that. So I pumped up as much as I could on whatever I had available. And I'm like, okay, I just got to make it for 45 minutes and got through that. And then I came home and then it is different to just come home, set the laptop up. I still did email and got communication done. I actually got some work done, but to not have that work, or other people judging you for being at work. Cause at Gallup, I shouldn't say this publicly, but at Gallup, we are big judgers of people who come in sick. We're like, hey, don't make us sick.
Right.
Kind of thing. We have a really flex policy, flex hours and all those things. So we're like, if you're sick, just stay home. We have all the technology to do it. Then me, course I can.
So it's
People
going to
are
be
like-
Addie, you and me are holding down the fort tonight.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds good.
I'll get the intro done. And then hey, we were going to talk. I couldn't remember last night, we were going to talk with your podcast planner
Mhm.
update. What you had something you wanted to share in that. So we had 3 segments. What were you going to share in that first segment?
I
Do you remember?
don't remember now.
You said we were
Um,
talking about it. You said you'd had something you were using.
Oh, Adobe. I let's see if I can grab that before. So we're not
Oh
live
yeah,
now.
no.
now?
Well, we are, but
Okay.
I edit this stuff out. So
Okay.
no, you're fine. Yeah, the Adobe Planner thing, or
Yeah, the Adobe just makes it easy to like they have this planner, and if you have the app, whatever you write or draw, you just take a snapshot of it.
go grab it. We'll
Yeah,
wait
okay.
for you.
I'll
Yeah,
do
go
that.
grab it. Yeah.
If I can.
Yeah, no worries. You don't. Okay, that works too. Doesn't matter. Mike, I shut off one of my burst boxes this week.
Oh, really? Like, shut it down for good?
No, not the way you think. So we'll talk about it in the crypto.
Okay.
Shut down my HP box. Pretty nice, pretty good week actually. I should have bought. I was gonna buy on Monday.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of rebounding a little
all-time
bit.
bottom, and then I would have caught it. For the amount I buy, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, rebounded quite nicely.
So you're
Burst is up
telling me
14%.
I know.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. So now I have like $1.50 worth of burst.
Tron's back up 16%. Wow. Everything's kind of.
Yeah, all the bottom feeders
Skeptic.
got a nice little lift. We'll talk about that.
So I'm telling you what. Alcohol cures sickness.
Oh,
yes.
it does. Yeah, I'm
Sure,
good. I'm
sure.
good. All right. I got some infusion. I got some Omaha
All right.
infusion vanilla bean.
I couldn't decide if I wanted to do Bailey's and hot chocolate tonight or
Yeah.
wine. So I was like, the Bailey's and hot chocolate will put me to sleep.
Oh,
So I
dude.
went with Troublemaker Red Blend wine tonight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Addie,
I'm a whiskey person and a Bailey's. Yeah.
Nice.
I just don't have it tonight. I was in a rush.
Bailey's would have. That's during this holiday season. They
It's
were
my favorite.
offering some Bailey's with some special cups, Bailey's
Yeah.
branded cups, and what I'm hoping is after Christmas they'll be clearancing out or whatever, and I can pick up some Bailey's cheap. So.
Good
Super
stuff.
good. But I get made fun of in my family for liking Bailey's. By the way.
Really?
Why?
I don't know. It's just they're I don't know. I've said this on the show before, but Addie, you said you like whiskey. I'm a big bourbon fan now, and there's a brand called Jefferson's that is just amazing. They have their bottom rung is $35 a bottle, which isn't too bad. I can get it for $29 on sale. Their next rung up is it's ocean, and they do something. It's like I think they put it in barrels and then put it on a boat and it goes to sea. I don't know, but it's $65 a barrel or a bottle. And so it's like I'm like, well, geez. Now they have another kind, and I think they must be putting gold flakes in it because it's $107. And Hy-Vee Mike was putting them out there like this was a good deal. It was in their good deal, and it was like 107, normally 109. And I'm like, okay, not enough of a price drop, Hy-Vee, to entice me to go from 109 to 107.
Have you guys seen the one that they age at the bottom of the ocean? So it's all calcified, and it's almost like the whole bottle, like they pull it straight out of the
whiskey or
ocean.
a bourbon?
I'm not sure what it is, but they deliver it just like that. So you buy it in this box, and it's got all the stuff from the bottom of the ocean like still on it. And I don't
I've
know.
never heard of that.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up and find the brand. I bought it for like I was shopping for someone else. Like they sent me out to grab a gift, and they were getting one for a friend. And I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't like as much as you would think, because to me that sounded like it was like a few $100s. But I'll have to find it.
Aged at sea. Yeah, I guess I was right. They put this stuff. Let's see. I think they put this stuff on a ship, and like you're like, okay, I don't know if that really changes the flavor of the whiskey or of the bourbon.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite whiskey?
I think I can't go wrong with Jameson. It's very basic
Oh
and
yeah.
normal, but I took a trip over to Ireland and Scotland
Oh,
last year, and I fell in love with just like the home stuff that they had, fresh, freshly made. Not freshly made because it has to be aged at
right,
least.
right.
Scotland, they believe in the 10 years minimum.
Oh,
Yeah, so it had some really delicious whiskey and scotch over there. But over here at home, just normal Jameson, like that does it for me. It's smooth, it's nice. Doesn't give me an ugly headache the next day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm finding the better quality the alcohol, the less of a hangover you have,
Yeah.
which is just great.
And I
So
like to drink it straight. I don't like to mix it with anything. So it means like it really does matter to me the quality of the
yeah,
whiskey.
yeah. So you're a sipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, lately I've gotten into sipping and smoking cigars. That is my favorite.
Classy.
That's so great. I stink up the place. Jefferson's ocean aged at sea bourbon is matured in American oak caskets. No, casks, sorry. For approximately caskets would be bad. Casks for approximately 7 to 8 years on land before the casks are placed on a ship and allowed to rest for another 5 to 10 months at sea. At sea, the bourbon and oak casks are forced to mingle with each other as the ship rolls back and forth over the water. This is a bunch of marketing crap for sure. Oh my gosh. In addition, the temperature and the barometric pressure fluctuates during the sea voyage. Like, are there wood ships out there that are at sea carrying this stuff? Like, anyways, so they charge twice as much for their bourbon that has been floating out at sea. Pretty unique. Okay, Mike.
I'll put it in the chat room. You can just Google that brand and then do images. And so it's actually a wine.
Oh.
It's like a wine that they age, but these bottles have all like the stuff still on them, which is kind of cool.
A Bossy, no, Bison, a Bossy?
A BC Bison? I don't know.
A BC?
Pretty cool though.
Yeah. Well, maybe Microsoft or Google ought to have something they age down with their data centers that they've sunk to the bottom of the ocean.
Age data. You want your data to be at the bottom of the ocean?
Eddie, did you know that they're sinking data centers down into the ocean and they're using the cool water at the bottom to keep them cool? Did you know that? Yeah,
that's a real thing. I thought.
Yeah, no, they're it's not in main production, but there are companies that are trying to use the temperature of the ocean to cool, which I'm sure is going to be proven to screw up the planet even more. You know,
It's not helping with all the other efforts that we have to save.
I don't know. I think no matter what we do, we're going to get blamed. We're like the middle child. Like humans are like the middle child of the planet. No matter what you do, you're getting blamed. So you can quote me on that one. Okay, let me kick this thing off, and I'll see if I can make it through an intro. I did fine on the bourbon, so we'll see how that goes. Let's try this thing. Oh, you know what? Oh, I guess we are live on Spreaker. Okay. This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 383, recorded on December 20th, 2018. Here at Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the Average Guy.TV studios. And if you can't tell from my voice, super struggling tonight. I was not about to let a cold wipe out a podcast. So, well, maybe I'll do a little less talking. I know if you listen long enough, you know that's probably not possible. But a little less talking tonight. We'll rely on Mike and our guest tonight. But, of course, we host a show with world-class show notes out at theaverageguy.tv. Don't forget, you can join us on the mobile app as well if you haven't downloaded that yet. Best way to listen on the road and easiest way to get the podcast, no matter where you're at, if you want to stream it. Of course, all that provided by Spreaker, and our Patreon subscribers help me pay for it. Head out to homegadgetgeeks.com and download that app today. Get it on your phone, even if you only use it once a year. It's like Christmas. Like, you want to do it. So download it, homegadgetgeeks.com. And we thank our Patreon subscribers for that as well. Big thanks to Mike Howard last week, who came in and talked about photography and sports shoots and mirrorless. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, mirrorless cameras. And so, Mike, thanks for jumping in here last night. Always good to have you on, and some good gift ideas. It might be, Mike, with it being December 20th, 5 days away. I've got a Christmas story I'll have to tell a little bit later, maybe in the post show on crypto, but it's getting a little close, right? We got to get gifts now. Is that the way it works? We're the guys here. We got to get gifts now.
Yeah. I know. It kind of snuck up on me this year. I don't know why. I feel like I didn't realize that this is coming up like on Tuesday. Kind of crazy. So yeah, I still have some shopping I definitely have to do. I don't think we're alone though, Jim. I think there's a lot of people that are.
I think they are. Addie Saucedo is back with us. She's been on a bunch of times before. Addie, I was looking. I think last time you were on 3/32, which is October 27th of last year. Welcome back. And is all your Christmas shopping done?
Yes, I'm really excited to be back. I think this is my 4th time, which yeah, I love being on the show. I was telling you this yesterday. I really enjoy the show. I enjoy listening to you, Mike, and your special guests. Christmas, yes, I'm thankfully done as of, I think, Sunday night. So all done. I'm in the clear. It's just a matter of thinking of what am I going to cook for the family.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good to hear. I would say the 5th time on Home Gadget Geeks get you a free T-shirt, but since you're the T-shirt person for the show, I don't think too many people know that. We had a bunch of people buy T-shirts the first go around. You set that up and made that work for me, mostly because I'm too much of an idiot to get those kinds of things done. But Addie, thanks for doing that. We had some folks buy it. I think maybe we'll talk a little bit about the end of the show. Maybe we have some ideas on some new offerings. Is it too early to say something, or can we say something at the end of the show, Addie? What do you think? Can we tell them at the end of the show? What do you think?
We can tell them at the
end. Okay, I'm losing your audio a little bit, so I don't know what's going. Do you have a gate or anything on that thing? Because it's the gate's being a little aggressive. We'll let you figure that out and come back in here in just a second. Well, I am definitely not. Well, I guess I am kind of ready. We did a new thing for Christmas this year where Sarah actually wrapped the gifts as they came in, as opposed to waiting until Christmas Eve. Oh, Mike, I don't know. Is your tradition like wait till Christmas Eve, or do you even have one? Yeah.
No, Hannah's pretty on top of it, to be honest. So we'll go in spurts, right? Like we'll get all the stuff in, and Hannah's been wrapping probably, every 3 or 4 days. So we've started to have, the pile under the tree for people. This year for her side, actually, that trip to Nashville, we just kind of considered that everyone's, we went on a trip just last weekend. That was kind of everyone's gift to each other. So that made that actually pretty easy. So a little less wrapping there. But yeah, Hannah's pretty on top of it. She does not let me wrap. I am the worst wrapper ever. It looks like I'm cutting like a 2nd grader. Not even, probably 2nd grader could probably outcut me. I just can't. And then if for some reason it's like my measurements don't add up, that whole measure twice, cut once kind of thing.
You can lawyer, but you can't wrap.
I can lawyer, but I can't wrap. So
well, we won't hold that against you. Addie, let's check your mic. Are we back with you?
Does it sound good? Does it sound better?
Yeah, that's great. Better. Okay. That's super great. Addie, do you this is the Christmas of front door boxes, right? I mean, everybody's doing everything online. Do you have some kind of something on your porch to make sure it's being watched? How do you handle packages coming in?
The Yi cameras. And I don't believe how, I think I heard them on your show. I heard them sometime years ago, the Yi camera, which is essentially the Nest camera. They built by the same manufacturer. They just put their own brand name on it. It's there's no subscription unless you want the subscription, but it's a one-time, just buy the camera, HD, and it depends on the one that you get. But I have one that you can rotate as if somebody's walking by, then it follows them, or you can just keep it still and then move the camera later if you like. But that's definitely pointing at the porch. I have 2, just making sure that it grabs like the blind spots, just in case anybody tries to get a little smart.
Are they visible? So that people can see that it is being, because I think that's half the deterrent, right?
Yeah. So one is visible, and that instantly I see people's character, even their face expression and their whole body language just changes the second they see the first camera. They're like, oh, I'm being watched.
Yeah, Mike, I know you got your porch covered, right? Couple different ways.
Totally. Yep. I've got them all. And then I'm the type, I'm like the cranky old man in the neighborhood too. Like I got the signs, like 24-hour surveillance, like on my fence. I got the Simply Safe yard sign out front. Like if they don't know, and mine are not hidden. They are up in the eaves a little bit. Like I don't want them to be an eyesore. But if you see the sign, you'll see the sign. If you look anywhere, you'll pick a camera. And I've got the whole house, except for one side, which I won't tell people which side of my house isn't covered. But every side but one is covered.
We took the Z Moto Cam, which we had talked about here on Home Gadget Geeks. I moved that to the front door. It is actually, and it's on the inside, so I didn't even post it outside. It sits right on the window, kind of the window sill. It's got a great shot of the whole front. I can see people coming up, steps. That was awesome. Then I moved that. Is it a D-Link camera that we bought that time on the show?
Yep.
And so, Addie, we're bad about it too. We buy stuff on the show, right? I bought this during the show. It was one of the deals that was in the group.
That's dangerous, I think.
No, it is super. It is super dangerous.
And I've been surprised, Jim, on that camera. That was not rated as an outdoor camera, but I have it outside on my patio. It's right up. You've been in my backyard, like right up by my TV. Actually, it looks right out onto the couch. And I mean, it's our weather that we've had here. It's been now that area doesn't get wet. They can't get any snow, but it's been in 5-10 degree weather already, and it's fine. It's always up and running and functions great. In the summer, it was super hot. It still didn't overheat. So it's been a pretty good little camera. And usually with these cameras, when they are not weatherproof, they fog up, right? As when it gets hot and cold. And this one has not fogged up. It's been and it's outside running on Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi range is even strong enough to reach inside. So I've been really impressed with that little D-Link camera.
Power out there?
Yeah, it's right by the TV.
Okay.
So that there's a power strip that's hidden right behind the sound bar. And
those do require an external plug.
They do.
I moved mine into the garage, and it's on a little hinge, which you can mount the back to something and then hinge it the way you want it, which is really, really cool. And so I put that in the garage. I had the Z Moto in the garage, and I just switched them and just swapped them. And so, but that points down two big red lights when you come in. So Sarah noticed. She's like, "Why are you watching the garage?" I'm like, "I've always been watching the garage." And that's indoor. It's better cam in there. It works really, really well. So it was a good swap. The other thing I did is I made sure she had the app on her phone so she could check, because she was always like, "Hey, can you check the porch?" I'm like, "No, I can't check the porch 8 times a day." And so we put the app on her phone, and now she can check it. So that works out pretty well.
And you can make those PoE, a form of PoE. They make these splitters that have the power plug and the Ethernet, and then on the other, and then you just run one Ethernet line. On the other end, it's got the Y again. You plug one into power, one into Ethernet. So you can. I've done that actually on some of my cameras. Have that same sort of general setup, and it works pretty well. So that way you don't have to plug into an outlet right by the camera. You just got to run one Ethernet cord, which is sometimes easier to run than the power.
Addie, we may talk about it tonight, but is Santa bringing you anything for yourself? I mean, we all talk about this stuff, right? Like, oh, I bought this. Sometimes I buy more expensive stuff for me than I do for anybody in the family, right? So do you have, I admit it. Are you buying any Christmas gifts for yourself that tech wise that you're
It was the Canon camera that I just said, you know what? I'm going to buy this for myself. I think I not only deserve it, but I'm going to put a lot of use to it. And I didn't want to put that on my Christmas list for others to buy because I know it's expensive. So yeah, I got the Canon M50.
Sweet.
Oh, very nice.
Sweet. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here at the third part of the show. I don't do this very often, but we have it kind of planned tonight. So we're going to get an update on Podcast Planner, and Addie has some technology she's using with that. We're going to talk a little. Last time she was on the show, we kind of talked her into buying some of those TP-Link. I think those TP-Link plugs.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that, and then we'll come back around to your camera. So I almost never foreshadow what we're going to do on the show, but Addie and I did such a good job of planning. I should probably tell you about it. Addie, give us a quick update. You're doing the Podcast Planner. You're also working at Simplecast, and that's kind of new since we got here. We're not. Don't everybody just turn this off because you think we're going to talk about podcasting. All right, stop. Just keep listening. It's not going to be about podcasting, but Addie, give us a quick update on the Podcast Planner, and then you are using some technology in your business. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this is my 6th year in podcasting. my third year for the podcast planner, promoting that business and the planner itself, teaching podcasters. And one element when it comes to podcasting is the planning phase and just getting things like out of your head and into a process that gets you creating content or whatever it is faster. And I was at down in LA and I ran into a moleskin store. I was like, whoa, okay. So, I love planners. I buy a lot of planners, physical books to write in and journal. And then I found two notebooks that really caught my attention. And then after the guy demonstrated, it like opened my eyes and my thoughts of like, wow, this is how I can digitize. Cause I do have, like, I have Evernote on my computer. I have the Bear app on my computer. I have a lot of writing apps on not only my computer, but my phone. And it's not that I'm against that. It's just that I love to have physical things to write in and not get distracted by technology. I do put a lot of limitations when it comes to notifications and checking my phone often or my computer often. So I do believe in a lot of physical formed, writing and taking notes. And then I found the guy demonstrated this notebook, which is the Moleskine Smart Sketch Album. Looks like this. Is an extra one. So all you do is, as like a normal notebook, you open it up, whatever you write in it, if you sketch in it, if you draw in it, all you have to do is pull out your Adobe app, and it has like these sensors. Maybe I'll open this one now, but it has these sensors, these 4 little boxes that tells it, hey, you're gonna scan the Adobe Smart Notebook. It instantly turns it into a vector, a digitized vector that you can import into the app on Adobe. I do have the Adobe Creative Cloud, so it instantly syncs up, and I can just pull that note or those sketches that I have. Especially when it comes to the podcast planner, I'm thinking of new designs to have within the planner itself. I can instantly pull that file, and it's easy for me to transfer that over to a designer. They can start modifying things. Or if I just want to keep the notes myself and not have to scan the papers one by one or use Dropbox and scan the page itself, it instantly syncs up with the cloud. I think that was I find, I don't know if I'm behind on that technology, but when I found that out, I was like, I have to have this, and it's working. I'm going to open this package really quick. Hopefully that noise isn't coming through.
A little bit, but it's okay. We're an informal podcast here. We just kind of go with it.
So you can see like these little notes, they're like little indicators for the app to say like, okay, this is how you're going to scan. So as long as you keep your sketches or your notes within those boxes, it does its magic. I don't know what the technology is behind it, but it instantly just captures everything, syncs it up to the cloud, and you can do whatever you like. If you just wanted to keep the notes for note keeping sake or turn that into a vector and have your designer draw something out of it, it's easily editable to do.
Yeah, we've seen Brian has been on a couple times. Freelander, he is our adaptive. No, what do we call that? What's that technology, Mike? That we for folks who are it'll come to me here in just a second. I can blame everything on a cold at this point. Like,
I don't know what I'm blaming myself on. I can't remember either.
Beer. But adaptive technologies, right? Technologies that help people. Pens that remember some of the things you can speak into. Mike, for you, have you, besides, I'm sure you do a lot of writing. Do you do anything to get it from paper to digital in some of the work you do?
I wish I did. Before I wasn't, kind of the opposite of what Addie uses. I had an audio version. We do a lot of interviews, right? Where you're, talking with someone, you're taking notes. The Live Scribe pens were really cool because those are recording audio as you're taking notes with your pen. And then you can plug your headset into it, and I can go back into my notebook, flip, and I say, oh man, what were they talking about when I wrote that note? And I click on just where I wrote my note, and it jumps to that part in the audio and plays it for me. And then I can click all different parts of my notes, and it'll just play that part of the audio. So not in the form of getting those notes into my computer, but I think actually it might have actually done that. It does. It creates a PDF of my notes. It's not good though. It's real rough. I mean, you got to kind of. I have good handwriting, I think, and it was still really sketchy. So it wasn't in form of artistry or design or anything like that. But for note taking, just that, it worked pretty well. And I think that would work really well for any sort of journalist or someone that like me. You know, if you're an attorney or a paralegal or someone that's doing a lot of interviews or depositions, things like that, worked out really, really well.
They have this Evernote version of it. So if you have an Evernote subscription, the Pro one, you can do the same thing. So the difference between the one I just showed you and this one is that it actually has lines and it does its magic. So if you were to check off one of these boxes, Evernote's app will know like, oh, you want to be reminded about this note. So it automatically sets a reminder. Again, I don't know how this tech works, but even Evernote makes it really easy to turn your handwritten notes into digital notes within the app. So this would be perfect, actually, I think, for people who are in journalism or lawyers who need to take notes constantly and then want to revert back to it digitally.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the cool part too about, so like the Evernote one is perfect for that. And then the LiveScribe pen, the way it worked was the notebook has these dots that you can't see with your human eye. And then the pen on the end of it has kind of an infrared camera. So the pen itself is storing everything you're writing. So when you plug that pen in, you don't need the notebook. You just plug the pen in. It pulls in the PDF because it was able to track, because of those dots on the page, it was able to kind of track your hand movement and your audio. But I kind of like the notebooks because you get a lot more accurate, probably, representation, like you said, for design and getting that to a designer. For people doing that style of thing, those notebooks, I don't think you would ever be able to do that with just the pen alone. It probably wouldn't be very accurate. So those notebooks are really cool. So what are the options you can check off there? I know you were saying a few. Are there like...
There's the reminder, and I guess this one's like a meeting. So if you want to set meetings with team members that you share your Evernote notebook with.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that's what that does. And then if you want a private note, you circle that it's like a little lock. So then it would know to keep that note private. If you were sharing this note specifically within a shared document, but you don't want them to see the rest under that little lock, then it just knows to blank that out or block it out.
That would be such a cool hybrid device. We have in our team, we like OneNote. So I take my iPad or my computer to meetings and I take notes that way. But like my boss and one of the other attorneys sticks to paper. They're just a paper and pen person. So if we had a shared note, like an Evernote, they would still be able to use their notebook like they liked. And then because the whole point, we just like to collaborate all of our notes together, but it's really hard when you have people who still like to handwrite. And I didn't know that shared notes feature. That would be fantastic. Getting that all into one notebook that you could share. Oh man, the ideas are spinning around in my head. I didn't even know that thing existed. That's really cool.
I wish I can test it, and maybe we can test it later because I don't share any of my notebooks, and I think that would be a neat feature. But I've seen videos on YouTube where they demonstrate and they say it does work when you're sharing an Evernote notebook or folder with them.
So do you need a special pen or any pen?
Any pen. Yeah.
That's cool.
Any pen. You just need the
Mike,
Evernote app.
We could we could write our show notes that way. And,
I know. And instantly share them.
We don't even write show notes when we type them in.
So then you're taking a picture kind of almost with your phone. With the app, it opens up probably a camera and that's how you're getting it in.
Yeah, the Evernote it looks like a picture, but it's more of, it does its scanning thing. It's scanning magic and then into the notebook, Evernote notebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Pretty cool. But I like that pen idea too. Is there a reason do you still use it or did you stop using it?
It was the property of my former employer.
Oh God.
I brought the idea to him like, yeah, we'll buy it and you can use it for that stuff. And then I felt guilty. I'm like, hey, you guys should probably have this back when I leave. They're pretty expensive. And the team that I was working on at the time really got used to it. Actually, because the way we did our interviews was kind of we would all work and we would get these people one at a time for these interviews. And so whoever's turn it was to do the interview would just take the pen and do it. And then the great part was we would plug the pen into the computer when we got back, grab the PDF file, which has the audio embedded in it, and just put it up on our shared drive for the entire team. So the entire team would say, right after that meeting was done, you would have access to the audio, the notes the person took, and they would be able to all start going through all the different information that was on it. So yeah, it was pretty nice. The only thing was you had to use their paper, and then you also had to use their their pen, which means you need their ink. So they kind of, I know like on yours, right, the cost is the notebook. For them, they needed the, and there was a way you could print your own paper. If you had a high enough quality printer, it would actually print those little micro dots. But, usually the notebooks were obviously better quality and easier to do. So it was kind of you needed to be in their ecosystem, but it still worked really, really well.
And what's the name of it again?
I think it was LiveScribe. I've got to Google it and make sure I have that.
Down. Yeah.
No, Tony just let me know. Spreaker. I didn't look at the volume thing bouncing up and down. I've been doing some weird stuff. It's been blocking it. It's been blocking the audio recently because it's Flash. The web version of it's Flash. Of course, everybody's deprecating Flash. So I think I'm just gonna have to go to the app and get it done that way. So no, shoot, I made all that big deal about how cool it is to listen to it on the app, and of course, it's not available. Addie, those notebooks about $20. Is that about right for each one of those? So
this one here was $20, and it's how many pages does it say it has? Doesn't tell me instantly here. Oh, 88. So this one has 88 pages. It's your normal size paper. They do sell this type, and I think so. This one's $25, and then this one is about $40. And it's the size difference and the amount of pages. Yeah. It's also a hard notebook. And then the Evernote, I think that was about $35. And it also comes with 3 months free worth of Evernote Premium. If you don't have a premium account, they give you a little code in the notebook for you to use and sign up so that you can use them together.
Yeah, I was going to say right now put a link in the show notes for that same binder, for that same Moleskine Evernote Smart Notebook. $18.41, but it's $10 shipping on this one. This one doesn't have the Prime. I'm sure you can find those between $20 and $30 that are out there. Mike, your LightScribe pen that you were talking about, normally $179, on sale right now for $128. That's a pretty expensive pen.
Oh, it showed $128 for you?
Yeah.
It says $154 for me.
Hold on. I am on the LightScribe 3 Smart Pen Black Edition.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I was on the LiveScribe. The one I put the link into is LiveScribe 2 gig Echo Smart Pen.
Oh.
I can't remember. There's some differences between them. So if you're going to look between the two, there definitely are some differences. But I think the difference was this one has 2 gigabytes of storage on board, so you don't need your phone with you. I think the other one, you have to have the app open so it can be sending that stuff to the phone instead of storing it on board. The 2 gig was awesome. It held, I can't remember how much audio that was, but it was a ton of audio. We never emptied that thing very often, and we kept it all on there. Yeah, so $154, not too terrible for that.
It's not Apple Watch expensive, but
no. But for the use case, if you have the right use case for it, right, it's good. Students, I think this would be absolutely perfect. If you are still a student who handwrites their notes, how awesome that'd be able to be like, oh man, I wrote down this formula, but I don't remember what she said here. Click. Plays the audio right at that header, because I know a lot of students who record lectures, but how often do you actually go back and listen to the whole thing? Usually you only need that 10-second, 20-second chunk that you missed. So just being able to go and click right where you were at when you were writing that note that was the lifesaver on that one. Have you tested, Addie, on that Evernote? I'm just curious, the OCR functionality, like if you go write some notes, put it into Evernote, are those searchable from your handwriting? Have you tested if that's a feature?
I have tested that. In the times that I have, it does work for me.
Perfect. Because that's always the hard part, right? Is you're doing all these you want to handwrite your notes, but then finding them later is super difficult. Would be that feature right there alone, I think would be worth it for me.
Yeah, it's been super helpful in everything that I do, because I write a lot of notes of all kinds of things. So that's what enticed me to buy it. I just wanted to see the marketing, it all looks cool and we get attracted by it. But then it comes down to, wait, how accurate does it work, and how easy is it to use all these functions? If it's too complicated or it's not consistent, then I'll just throw it out. But it has been, so far for me, it's been consistent to find the text and to scan it, make it super easy, because the last thing you want to do is spend a lot of time to make something work.
Right. Exactly. It's got to work for you.
Yeah.
or spend a bunch of time to make something harder when, you're trying to make it easy, but you're making it harder.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I have to get this exactly right or it won't pick things up. I mean, the 90s and 2000 technologies were kind of that way where it had to be absolutely perfect. And I think we're finally getting enough processing power either on our phones or in our gear or in our equipment where we get close enough. Apparently not close enough on Spreaker tonight, but close enough that we can do it. It would be kind of cool. I would think a note-taking integration with the podcast where, you're talking about the podcast planner where when I start the show in the notes, it also knows it's like a timestamp. So anytime I make a note in the show notes, it automatically timestamps it with where I'm at in the show.
Yeah.
God, how great would that be? Because I could look at it and kind of go, oh, okay, it's this close. But
Right.
I really want it tied to the audio. The hard part is that when I go to edit the audio, it screws up all those timestamps, right?
Right.
So that's where it's at where you can listen to it on playback. You already have your notes written out, and just as you're doing stuff, just click. You kind of put in the marker, but then you can do that manually if you're listening to it after the fact, right? Like that's kind of defeats the purpose.
And the key to that is always editing from the end of the show backwards,
right?
So that the timelines, it's still going to get a little funky, but that's a great idea. That's something that I've wished too. It's a matter of bringing both the hosting and recording companies with the transcriptions syncing all together. If those three worlds can come together, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to see some automatic show notes created based on AI where it kind of learns like what you're talking about and what you're doing and add some links, and it would just create. Although I'm not I don't write good show notes because I don't ever go back and look at anybody else's podcast show notes. So they're not helpful to me. Like I get calls to action out of these things. I just go to them. I'll go do them. Right. I will remember people's pretty links, the ouchguy.tv/ whatever shirt. Well, that would get you a shirt. So I do remember those, but I don't go back, but it would be, I guess if I could get transcripts, it would create some automatic show notes. We're getting closer, but I don't think we're
I'm a huge show note guys, mainly for product links, right? They're talking about something. I just click there and click the product link or referral codes. So a lot of times I won't even be listening to the podcast and I'll be like, oh, I know that, Jim, or I know that Mac Geek Gab, they have a referral code for XYZ. I'll go just pop up their latest thing. And I know that it's probably in the show notes somewhere. I don't have to listen to it. I just go click their show notes and find their referral link. So I do use it for that, but you're right, Jim. I've kind of gotten in the habit. I don't usually click and read through show notes or anything unless I'm looking for some sort of link out to a product they're talking about. I don't know. I used to do it a lot more than I do now. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe I'm not listening to shows where it's just necessary.
I think it does depend on the show. Like this is a show that would be perfect for all the things and resources mentioned. That's the type of show that I'm constantly going into the app and saying, well, what was that pen? Boom. Okay, I'm going to add it to my Amazon list now and then check it out later when I do have time and I'm shopping on Amazon. Right. I'm going to be reminded to buy that thing that I heard on the podcast. That's where show notes and hyperlinks are super important.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I do on our show notes is I do, in most cases, probably get it 75% of the time at least, is I do during the show, I do capture if we have a new link to bring in, I will bring the show notes in. I will bring the link into the show notes and at least have it available. My Amazon affiliate link doesn't work anymore here in the US. It still works in the UK, which is crazy. Like I still get credit for purchases in Europe, or especially the UK on Amazon. The US has blocked me. Anyway. So I'm not real careful with Amazon just because I'm not incented to do that, but I do try and do that. Just so if you're listening to this and you're wondering, what does Jim put in his show notes? Well, that's it. In a lot of cases, it's the link to what we're talking about. Addie, last time you were on, we talked about getting some automation into your home, and you took us up on it, which has been great. Tell us the story. Well, what are you using and how'd you do it?
So you mentioned the Kaza, at least the app is called Kaza. I just clicked on the link and I bought the thing that you mentioned. And it's the automatic plugs. And you can, I don't know if you can, maybe I can decrease this screen.
And KASA is Kaza. That's an app for smart home.
Yeah, so smart home plugs, and now I have 2 here at home where, the camera, the Yeet camera that is inside, I only turn it on when I leave the house just so that I know if somebody ever breaks in, then they're caught on camera. So I don't want that camera on all the time. If I'm here lounging, relaxing, and my mom's around too, that's kind of weird to know that the camera's on. So I just use the app to one, schedule the times that I know I'm not home or family's not home. It shuts off and it turns on. Also, just right now, so if I leave the house, I know that I don't have to go physically go turn on the camera, make sure that it's on. All I have to do is just pull up this app and it turns it on for me. Same thing with the house lamp so that it looks like somebody's home when no one's home, just to have that nice little small light coming through the window. I just turn that little light on. Or if I'm in the living room and I need that lamp and it's hard to reach, especially right now that Christmas tree is up, then it makes it easy to just open up the app and bam, just click on. But that's also on a timer. Specifically waking waking up super early, it's kind of hard and you're sleepy. You're like, where's the light switches? And you don't want to look at your phone too. So I also have that on a timer that it turns on. I think it's like what is it that it's set? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning to about 5:30 in the morning, and then it shuts off. Then it turns on again when sun goes down. So that's right now here in California, that's 4:30-ish to about another 2 hours after that.
Did you get the round ones from them, or did you get the square, kind of the long square ones?
Yeah, the long square ones.
Okay. I'm losing a little bandwidth for you. Mike, is that me or is that Addie? What are you seeing?
I was losing a little bit too.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just the internet. It could just be the internet. I think we're back. Mike, go ahead.
But yeah, I love your camera idea, because if you don't have some sort of NVR that you can control the stop and start, of recordings, you're kind of stuck with, and sometimes those cameras are in spots that are hard to reach where you plugged them in at. I have a lot in my garage or in the eaves of my thing that run up to the attic. But if you had one of those, it wouldn't matter. That's a really cool idea for kind of the privacy on the camera side thing. I didn't think about that. We use ours. We have the Hue bulbs in most of our lights, but we have the TP-Link. I have one for my podcasting light because it's really hard to reach back behind the desk here. So I could just ask Lady A, who's sitting on my desk, to turn it on. And then we also have one for the Christmas tree. So the Christmas lights, on and off. And we did the same exact thing. We went on a trip and we turned on and off random lights throughout the trip, to kind of make it look like your home, the Christmas lights, the living room, all sorts of lights. And it kind of helps, right, with that sort of thing. And my cameras, to my wife's dismay, are always on. We don't have any in the house, but they're all external, except for I do have one on my server rack down here, but it's the only one inside the house. But everything else is external, so I don't have to worry about that. But that's a really good use case for it. I never thought about that.
Not terribly expensive. $16 each, 32.
Are they really now? That's gone down a lot.
Yeah.
I want to say those were 40 back last year, maybe $30, $40.
25 easily for the single ones.
Yeah.
I bought this pack for I think it was $25.99, and that was a sale at the time. And I think it only went on sale because Amazon announced their version of the same type of technology. So I thought I got a steal at $25-ish.
No, that's actually a really good price. They're, not on sale. They're $32 right now, 33. With it. Do you use an Alexa device of any kind, an Amazon device for those, or?
Not yet. I should. That's something I should look into. I feel like other than the cameras and the power hubs, I don't see another reason for it, but I should buy one and get on board and just test out a couple things.
Or even just, do you run an iPhone?
I do have an iPhone.
Yeah, just run it through HomeKit, and then you can use Siri. That's the best part too, because then you could just, be like, hey Siri, and do whatever you need to do. Oh, now my phone's going off.
Do not influence us with your Apple evil ways.
I'm just saying, you don't need to invest in another device. If you want to test out if you would use voice commands, just sync it up with your HomeKit. And
I thought I had you broken of that, Uyghur.
You pretty much do. You should see what I mean. I'm on an iMac right now running Windows, and I haven't fired up Mac OS on this computer in like a month and a half, Jim. That's how.
It's such music to my ears.
It's.
I love that.
Crazy. Still run the Mac laptop, but
Addie, are you running any digital assistants at home? Do you have any of those that you're running? Alexa or
No,
or Google Home or any of those kinds of things? You haven't gotten into that yet?
not into it yet. That's probably something I would like to explore, at least one thing, and see how it goes. Yeah.
Well, this is the time. They're super cheap and it's Christmas. And so they'll probably be getting rid of a bunch of those at the end of the year. Look for, I think you can find them for $20.
Of the
And
two, which one do you think is better?
Mike, you could weigh in on this. I think they're the same, to be honest. I don't, between Google and Amazon,
Yeah.
I think they're pretty close. I don't know, Mike, do you have any opinions on that?
You got to kind of give, if feature wise, you got to give the nod a little bit, I think, to Google, to be honest. But when you talk about privacy, I think you got to get, I mean, I don't think Amazon's, great with it, but I think they're better than Google as far as privacy goes. I think when it comes down to actual algorithm, voice recognition, things like that, I actually think the HomePod from Apple wins. But as far as features go, it totally loses. The HomePod actually does things way differently. It pairs with a phone or an iPad or a current device, and it's actually doing a lot of things locally without sending a lot out to the house. So it's actually a lot snappier and faster. But as far as feature set go and integrations, they're not there yet. So I don't know. I have all Amazon devices, and we have a lot of them. If I didn't have as many as I did, I think I have, as far as Echo devices, 6 in my house. And if I didn't have that many, I probably would have switched over to Google just to give them a shot. I've actually thought about buying one just to play with it, but I know I'm probably going to like it a little bit better and end up wanting to switch out all my devices. My wife, my 2-year-old is already used to Amazon, to these devices. He knows he can just walk up to it. He doesn't understand them because he mumbles, but he tries to get it to play Baby Shark and all his favorite songs. Our thermostat actually has Lady A built into it. So the Ecobee thermostat is an Amazon device. So we're just way too invested in this ecosystem to switch. But I do think if I was to try one right now from the beginning, I'd probably get the Google Mini, see how that works for me, and then kind of go from there. Their products are, I think, just a little bit more connected in terms of understanding the show plays YouTube videos. It can, you say, hey, how do I cook a chicken? And it's going to pop up a YouTube video that it thinks will help you out. There's just a little bit more deeper integration with web searches and things like that Google has than Amazon does.
Brian in the chat room says Amazon will try and sell you stuff. Google will sell you.
That's a perfect way to put it, Brian. I didn't think about it that way. That is the perfect way to describe the differences. That's very true. That's very true. I remember, Jim, we had the wands. Do you remember those wands that Amazon gave us? Actually, they were free, essentially.
Yeah.
So I have a wand that can read barcodes. I can scan anything in my house, and it'll put it in my shopping list, and I can go buy it on Amazon if I want to.
Wow.
Yeah, grab the wand and just say, hey, turn on the Christmas tree. Addie, this is where it's perfect. Like right now, you can just say, hey, device, turn on the Christmas tree, and whoop, on it goes.
Yeah, so that's a good use case for trying it out with Siri first, right? Before you spend any money, just to see if you would even use it.
Right.
I don't know if you're I'm not going to say it, the H Siri command person, but I am. I leave my phone on the counter all the time. When I'm in my bathroom is the one place we do not have any Amazon device, and nothing can hear me from there. So if I want to play music or ask it, I'm getting ready in the morning, want to know the time, want to know the weather, I'm using that command all the time. So it actually does a pretty good job. Even on the phone, it can be pretty far away. So if you want to turn on any lights, just get it wrapped into HomeKit. It's probably a 30-second thing you could do with the Casa app and HomeKit, and you'd be off and running.
I'll give that a try. I also bought, and Jim's not going to want to hear this, but I bought an Apple Watch, and that's when I've been using the more, hey,
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been getting used to that more now because it's just more convenient, and it just triggers a lot quicker because I have it on my wrist.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to take your tip and advice and give that a shot this weekend.
So take your next $170 and get AirPods, because the AirPod plus Apple Watch combo is the best thing I have ever experienced in my technical life. Because, I mean, it can hear you way better. You can do phone calls with it. It's just, it's so great. Go on runs, music. Those AirPods are the best thing ever. And combined with the Apple Watch, it's just hands down one of the coolest experiences you'll have.
I've been holding off on the AirPods because they're coming out with new ones.
They are. That's true. So wait. I think they say like February, March. That's the rumor. So we'll see. Yeah. Wait till then, and then go all in on those, and it'll just be amazing.
2.0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a version 3 or version 4, Addie, for your watch?
4. I got the latest one.
Nice.
Cellular or non-cellular?
cellular.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I mean, yes, if you and all that's perfect because you know then on the runs and everywhere. I leave the house without my phone when I'm going to Hy-Vee to get groceries now because I don't need it, and I've got my cell device on my wrist. I've got the AirPods in, and it's perfect. Yep.
It's got the EKG on it, and I think I'm going to get my doctor when I go in for my physical this year. I think I'm going to get a note from him that says I need constant tracking, like with my family history and some stuff. Then I can use my HSA to buy the phone or to buy the watch.
And they just activated the feature. It actually just went live.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's legal, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can do that, but I'm going to say it. Why couldn't you for a medical device? Yeah. You never know. But they're $500 though. That's the right. $499.
Yeah. Are they that much
for EKG? Yeah, I think they are.
Oh yeah. We bought ours through Verizon, and so it's like a 5 month or 6 month to just tack it onto your phone bill kind of thing. So that's the dangerous part when you don't know really like, oh, how much was it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's $80 a month for the next 6 months. So whatever that adds up to.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
I'm tempted. That EKG. I saw a story today where the guy they turned it on, and I think this was on LinkedIn. They turned it on and he said it, and then it not immediately being within an hour, said he had an AFib problem. And he was like, well, I'm in perfect health. So he reset the watch, put it back on, came back up, boom, AFib. So he went and saw his doctor, and he's like, hey, this thing is telling me, and I'm sure it can't be that good. And the doctor was like, actually, you do have a condition.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that's good. Yeah, because my first thing, so it went live, I want to say 2 weeks ago, or maybe even a week ago, the update came out that actually activated the feature. And so obviously my wife has the Series 4, I have the Series 3. So I was like, oh, come on, update it and give it to me. I really want to try this thing out. So she did that first, and it was healthy. And I was actually super scared. We have a heart history in our family, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm putting this on. Like, this is kind of the first time I've ever been hooked up to any form of heart machine, right? And I was like, okay. So I did it, and it said I was fine. I was like, oh, good, okay. 27 years old. I shouldn't have AFib yet, but you never know. To be honest, like my mom had it really young, but so what a cool feature for someone like me who has a big heart history family, and one that sometimes in my family has gone undiagnosed for a little bit because of just like that guy. You sometimes just feel weird, but you don't know why you feel weird. So I think it's just really cool. There's been the whole worry that, over diagnosing healthy people, like giving healthy people access to something that tracks these health that close is a bad thing. I don't know. I think it's a good thing. I think it's kind of, first of all, it's just fun. And second of all, you're going to have those people that are kind of like me who don't like going to doctors very often, who might be prompted, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, dude, you should probably go. I'm sensing some irregular stuff going on here.
I think it just makes us more aware. Since I've been wearing it, I actually have that interface on my watch where it shows me my heart rate. So I don't know if you can see, it just has that grid. And I'm not constantly, but every time I glance at my watch, it just tells me how I'm doing throughout the day. So that tells me, especially that I want to be more conscious of, am I getting off my chair and going out for a walk? Am I getting the exercise that I need to make sure that my heart's healthy? Is it resting when it should, or is it getting super hyper when I should be relaxing? So it's giving me more of an awareness of what's going on with my body. And I think there's nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah.
I think it's just helping.
I totally agree. I had a lot of fun starting out. I started really working out in June, and I kept track of my whole progression even till now. I kept track of the resting heart rate, how fast my heart rate gets back to normal afterwards. And it is just really cool when you start to get to know those metrics of your body, and you start to see how your heart actually does get, not healthier, but stronger over months. And it's really cool it's a whole insight that you never really had before. Into your health. Like you said, it kind of gets me up and going now, and especially because I started to add a bunch of friends into the health app, and I'm always getting alerts that they're finishing workouts, and I haven't got out of my chair all day, so it gets me up. And I agree. I think it's always good.
Yeah.
And Anthony Rayner in the chat says it's actually quite common to not feel AFib. So maybe you don't notice the symptoms, and so something like this, maybe you need something like this to kind of tell you before you start having the serious side effects.
I might just go to the Sprint store and just buy it on installments. What the hell?
In 6 months, it's actually not bad.
Well, it would be a good. I think actually, to be honest, where I'm at, 51. I'll be 51 in 2019. we've got some heart disease in my family, and it'd probably be good to start tracking some of that. I work out probably more than most 50-year-olds, so I don't. I've lulled myself into a sense of complacency, like, no, I'm fine, like, because I work out. No, actually, that doesn't matter. What matters is what this stuff you jam in your face as you're right. Addie, you know that better than anybody. And so I still need to continue to have that motivation at times to kind of go, I need to be better about it. So, when I think about it, like $500, I think, yikes. When I think about it at $20 a month, I don't go so yikes. And it's the same price, right? It's not like I'm paying more.
Now you could always go without cellular and save, I think, $100, $150.
Yeah,
I think so. I think it's 150 difference cellular.
And then it's like, at least for Verizon, it's $10 a month to have the watch connected to your data plan.
Yeah,
I don't know
Sprint's doing
Sprint
a deal
is.
of some kind. I have to look into it. Sprint's doing, because they're trying to always encourage more in that. So I'll have to take a.
I'm gonna get an invite from Jim on the Hearth app or the Health app. I'm gonna know that he went and grabbed one.
Did we figure out a way to interface that with Fitbit so
you can? We know there's a solution. I just haven't done it yet, but yes, it can get your info into there.
My Fitbit groups we've been talking about Fitbit here on the show, and those groups are strong for me. Hey, listen, and I am not above. Oh shoot, I don't have either one of them on. That's crazy. I'm not above wearing 2 watches these days. I've got the Garmin here, and I use the Garmin to track step times and stuff like that. And then I use the Fitbit Ultra to just track steps. Oh. And so it's been really good to have both. But I would easily, if I went with a watch, if I went with with an Apple Watch, I'd go down to 1, and I just get rid of the other ones. I need to not have them around. Just get down to 1. So, Addie, how long have you had yours, and are you using the fitness stuff that's on it, and are you tracking calories or food on it?
So I got it. What was that? October. Shortly after it was announced and released. I had to wait, I think, 2-3 weeks after, because everybody went out and got them. At least this version, which is the 4, and it's black, and it's the cellular. It was all out of stock, so I had to wait. And I have been tracking everything. I number one, I love watches. I've always worn watches, so I always use like the features of timers and things like that. And then syncing up and checking my health. I've been using that along with this app, 5K Runner. Is that what it's called? Coach to 5K. Yeah. So using the watch, checking the daily activities. I love the reminders that it tells you to stand up. I also have a stand-up desk, so it tells, like, when I see that, it's like, oh, I should probably just go ahead and crank this thing up so that I'm standing for the rest of the day. But yeah, I love all the reminders, the heart rating stuff. I love the interfaces too. You can change them as you wish. So for me, I love to see like when the sun is coming up and when is the sun going to go down. That tells me I know I can go for an early walk at certain points, or not go for an early walk because the sun doesn't come out until 7-ish, until the time changed. And then podcasts, it makes it super easy to just look at your podcast list and sync it up and start playing from there. The time, I love it. Like I didn't think I would like it this much. As you continue to use it, you start to see all the features that you're able to use. That I was using a Fitbit Charge 2 before this, and that was great. I thought that was like amazing. But to have these just smaller little features that go along with everything else that you have on your phone, that has helped a lot. One thing I instantly did after getting the phone was limit the amount of notifications from email, text messages. Those are the things that I got quickly annoyed. I was like, I don't need this many notifications. It gives me anxiety. So I went into the app and synced them to that it doesn't mirror my cell phone. I turned that stuff off.
That's a good call. Mike, they've got the Apple Watch with the Sport Band, GPS and cellular for $17.92. It's $5 a month off if you buy it through them.
For how long?
24 months.
Oh, 24 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Verizon only offered 6 month option. Yeah. So that's pretty good. And, all the things, limiting the notifications. I did the same exact thing. I wore it for a week. I'm like, man, this is getting out of hand. Yeah. You really start to realize how many notifications you get when your wrist vibrates every time. And then Quasi out there said he likes the walkie-talkie feature. Didn't think it would be a big deal. It's so funny you say that because I was just about to say the same thing. My wife and I love the walkie-talkie app. It's actually a great way. We both leave ours in available mode all day. We kind of just know each other. We know our jobs well enough that we don't do it throughout the day unless it's over the lunch hour. So we're not interrupting. Even so, the first time they interact with you after a while, you kind of have to interact with the watch a little bit to accept the walkie-talkie. But we do it. The biggest use case for it is right now we've been doing Christmas shopping. I'm driving. I drop her off at the door and she walkie-talkies me when she's checking out, and I can swing back around because I'm driving around with the kids, keeping them in the car, and hey, coming right back out. I'm like, all right, sounds good. And you don't have to do a full phone call. You just do the walkie-talkie thing. We've been loving the walkie-talkie feature. It works out really well. If you have someone in your life that you're constantly kind of doing that interaction with, it's really fun. And Hannah's even said, she's kind of joked that, man, she wishes her coworker, she works in a hospital, and they have these little devices on them that they can always talk to other people in the hospital. But she's like, man, if other members of my team had walkie-talkie, I would much rather prefer just, scroll walkie-talkie and talk to them that way. Obviously not HIPAA compliant probably to do it that way. I'm sure there's regulations around that. But it would still be kind of cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Addie, you might have me talked in. It's going to take you.
I was going to say, okay,
it's going to take Addie.
Because I've been talking to Jim about this for a little over a year, and he hasn't pulled the trigger yet. He also hasn't pulled the trigger on the Xbox. So I think there's two things there that I can't get him to pull the trigger on.
Xbox is coming. Here's
good
the deal on the Xbox. Just real quick, Addie. This is Addie. You're sweet. Are you gamer at all, Addie? Do you do Xbox or PlayStation or any of those?
It's been years. Been years. Yeah.
Well, me too. I'm not a big gamer, but I'm afraid. Like as soon as I get it, Mike, I'm afraid that's all I'm going to do because my motto is whatever's worth doing is worth overdoing. And so like that it helps me in the fitness realm because I get crazy about it, but doesn't help me with gaming. So I'm going to ask you, Mike, if I do this, how am I going to keep it from overdoing it?
Well, this is going to be a real easy conversation because I'm not a gamer either. And you may go through spurts, right? Like there may be spurts of addiction, Jim, where you get the first Xbox, maybe you get a game, or maybe you don't even need a game. You do something, you get some, and you might play it for every night for like a week, but that'll slowly go away. We've even seen me, I get really up on games sometimes, but I'm not a gamer, so I rarely play games on the Xbox. Honestly, I've been telling you the main selling point for me on the Xbox, I believe it's the best home media device you can buy. It's the best experience for Netflix, Hulu, Plex, everything. You can rent movies through Microsoft. It's got the IR blaster on the front, which means you need one remote for your Xbox, and the Xbox can send volume commands to the TV. It can turn on and off your TV. It has all that. I just think it's the best home media device, and that's what we use them for. So much so we have two now, and we're not gamers. Neither is Hannah. Yes, I play maybe 2 to 3 hours. I mean, the Twitch thing was kind of a phase. I'm still trying to do that a little bit, but you take out some Twitch time, maybe 2 to 3 hours of games a month. I mean, a month. I get on for 20-minute spurts, maybe 3 times a month and play, but our Xbox is always on in our house because it's the home media device. It's what we use. And I just think it's the best one. So that's talking you into it because I don't think you'd be.
But I don't want it.
Game thing.
Like I don't want it in the media room.
So get two, like we did. Yeah, I have one down here. I'm pointing to one right next to me, and then we have the one in the living room for our main stuff.
I want it here in the man cave, so I can. Yeah, because Sarah's watching TV. The media center's fine for her, right? For the way we have it, she's not gaming. Media center's fine. We don't watch hardly anything out there. I would want it back here, I think.
So what I think too is, if you ever did want to, you've always talked about once Media Center dies for you and you need to get Sarah over to something else, being a Microsoft product and coming from, Media Server, I think you guys are using it on a computer, right?
Yeah.
So what, are you using a keyboard or how are you how is she interacting with that?
Keyboard. Oh, we have a Media Center, an old Media Center remote that still works.
I think it would be the most natural switch for her, Jim. Just Microsoft to Microsoft. She probably understands how things work. It's kind of a similar experience. If you ever did want to switch over to like Plex primarily or whatever you want to do, I think the Xbox would be a good option for the living room. But yeah, put it down in the man cave and just have a fun device down there. Now, to be honest, though, for your man cave, maybe it isn't worth it because then you already have your computer, which you can run your media on. It would only be a game box at that point. This one down here is only for gaming. because obviously if I'm going to watch YouTube or something, I just pull it up on my computer. It's a lot easier. So maybe down there, it doesn't make as much sense. You might be right.
I don't know. I talked myself into it. There was a deal posted in the Facebook group this week by none other than Kevin Schoonover, and he was like, "Hey, $179 gets you 500 gig model," and I think it wasn't Minecraft, but there was another kids game kind of thing, and I almost just bought it right then, and I was like, nah, I don't know. So I'm going back and forth.
We had don't tell Hannah I'm telling you this, but we actually, I put mine, one of them we have a bedroom TV, and I put it in there honestly because this headset right here is completely wireless, and I can just sit in bed and put this on, and I can play games with it. She doesn't even know besides the from the keyboard, but if I'm watching something, I can watch it with these headphones. I can game from there. It was kind of cool for that, just because of these wireless headset. Everything comes through here. Your voice chat and your game audio, your whatever you're watching, kind of comes through. It was kind of a cool experience to have that. It's no longer there because I did that. It's now down here in the living room. I was staying up a little late because when I go to bed, I need to just go to bed, or otherwise I'll stay up till the wee hours.
I think I'm compulsive. I think that's why we're friends.
I think so too,
because we just can't control ourselves. But
I think you control yourself way more than me. There's been times.
Well, you do more faster, and you're out faster. It takes me a little longer to get into the ecosystem, but I stay longer. So that's about. But we're equal that way. In that. Addie, last week we had Mike Howard on, and we talked about mirrorless versus DSLR in cameras. And then I didn't know that when I booked this. And then when you and I were doing a little pre-show conversation, you're like, well, hey, I got this mirrorless Canon. Is it what are the numbers on that thing? It's a Canon
M50
mirrorless camera. And we had talked about some of the reasons why. Here, hold that up here. Let me
see if I can. It's like a little dark.
Bring you into focus. How long have you had it? Why'd you buy it? And why'd you go mirrorless?
So I've had it for about just a couple weeks. Whenever Black Friday was around, I haven't had a lot of time to play with it. But for the longest, I've been wanting to get more into video. The only thing about video is that it's kind of complicated in normal DSLRs. So I have here the Canon T3i, and you have to know what you're doing. Like, that's what it comes down to. If you don't know what you're doing, you're just setting yourself up for a lot of work. A lot of just that learning curve is just going to be super steep. And so I just kind of gave up on video, and I said, well, I'm just going to use my iPhone for whenever I need Instagram stories, and I'm not going to focus on video. I'm going to continue to focus on audio. But I just continue to have that curiosity of, what can I do with video? I'm a huge fan of film, especially when it comes to Charlie Chaplin and how he uses silent and black and white films. So I just keep having like that itch in the back of my head, like get into video, but it needs to be easy. And I went to a conference a couple months ago. It was Vid Summit. It's a huge conference of all these YouTubers, and you see them walking around with all these cameras, and they're telling, like, I'm like, wow, how do they find the time or the effort to learn all these skills? And after talking to one of them, they said, no, Canon and Sony are making it super easy to have these cameras that are, number one, they're small. The price isn't as steep. It just depends on the one that you get. But you can simply get one of these mirrorless cameras. It takes the shot for you. It autofocuses. It does what is called face tracking. So you don't have to constantly know what you have to do to fix the focus. Make sure you're holding it a certain way. The camera does all that heavy lifting for you. Then you can just get creative with what you want on the final product. So post edit, have like a certain look. So if you want more of a vintage look, then you do that in post. But the camera itself will take care of everything. And I just kept thinking about it. Finally, just made my decision on Canon cameras. And even at that, Canon had this other camera that's still a DSLR. It's not mirrorless, but it still had some capabilities when it came to video. But after a lot of research, I saw that Canon M50 did exactly what I want. I believe in what can I use, and kind of going back to journaling, what can I use to make this very quick and easy and not take a lot of time, and I can grow with. So the Canon M50 just had a lot of features that I've been seeing. I took the plunge. I went for the M50.
And at $5.99 on Amazon right now, that's the link I put in the show notes. Pretty good price for those $600 for a camera.
Yeah, so when I think for the better part of the year up until about Black Friday, they were $8.99, and that was just the body itself. They wouldn't sell the kit lens. If you wanted the kit plus the body, then I think you were looking at about 1,000. But right now, I'm not sure which deal you're looking at, but that sounds similar to the one I got, which is $5.99 or $5.80 something. It comes with the body, it comes with a good kit lens, plus it came with the adapter. And the adapter is super important because this is the adapter here. It's a new camera it's a new line from Canon. But what if you do have other lenses like I did? I have the T3i and I have extra lenses that goes with it. If you want to use your other lenses from your other Canon cameras, then you just use that adapter, put that onto the body of the M50, then you can use any lenses with it. You're not limited only to the kit lenses that come or were specifically made for M50. So that adapter just opens the possibilities even wider.
Where'd you pick yours up at?
Amazon.
Okay. Yeah. So right now the deal, and you're going to want to look around on Amazon. I'll provide a link. That $5.99 is not with the adapter, that version, but you'll want to look around. If you're thinking about buying one of these, you'll want to look around there. $787 for the deal with the adapter right now. But again, you want to shop around, especially on things like this. And I think especially because Canon just lowered the price on some of these. You're right. It was $8.99 for a while now. You're going to find some varying in prices. What kind of stuff have you shot so far? What have you enjoyed shooting with that?
So I went on a hike about 2 weeks ago, took some nice simple pictures. I also went to like this forest where they lit up. It's called Enchanted Forest. It's Christmas time, so they lit up the whole garden with these lights, and in low light. Again, coming from a person who doesn't know a lot of video stuff, the camera did a lot of amazing heavy lifting for me and made me look like I know something about them. So I'm already amazed at the simplicity of just point and shoot, using the automatic feature and using the video feature. I tested the video feature out today, where I wanted to see how good does it track your face, and how responsive is it when I select a different spot than just my face. And it quickly responds. It's amazing. And it's kind of like the Apple Watch. It's like, this is why I bought you. Like, this is amazing. Yeah.
So when you're doing that video, the one problem I have with my DSLR is you get the zzz, 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 the autofocus that it makes the video almost unusable because it's constantly trying to focus. How is it when you're actually recording? Are you kind of locking that focus in? Are you letting it do the autofocus? And then is it pretty smooth? That's the one thing I've always seen from people with mirrorless cameras is, they're switching it around and it's focusing, but you're not hearing that. You're not seeing the physical focus. How has that been?
It's super fast and smooth, and it doesn't so you don't get any fuzzy, the noise isn't there. The transition is super quick, and you're not getting any of that. I know exactly what you're talking about because that's what I ran into with the T3i.
That's why I gave up on my video. When you said you gave up on video with that, I was like, I have done the same exact thing. I've switched to my phone because I can't deal with it. And as a one-person show, sometimes you don't have the option to have someone back there doing a manual focus with you in the frame.
Yeah, I'm going to try to share my screen so you can see something that I did today. Very simple. Let me just make sure that that's big enough. But yeah, it's super responsive, quick, easy, and I have a lot of ideas just by doing those tests. I'm like, okay, now we're in business, because before, screw it. It was just too much time to figure this stuff out.
And do you think that is that I don't know enough about photography to know if that's the lens. Obviously the lens is where the focus is at. So maybe, on the mirrorless, if you were to put that mount on and use a different glass on there, maybe you would still have that problem. I don't know. Is it because of the glass that comes with it?
It's from what I understood on like the research that I did, it is because it's mirrorless, so the responsiveness is quicker
Okay.
and the light is quicker. And then some technology they're using, I should know this, but it's like it's kind of like Intel for computers. So they have this technology for cameras, especially these newer ones. The latest technology makes that responsiveness and autofocus a lot quicker, which is why I went with this one as opposed to another DSLR that they have. It's called SL2. That was just as competitive because it has that nice, rich Canon look that everybody loves about it. But it doesn't have the sensors that the M50 has, where it gives you a bigger picture range to choose from so that if I want to select a tree in the background and not my face, it quickly just transitions for you. So it's both the technology and the mirrorless things just working together.
Okay. Perfect. You might have me convinced on this one. We have Jim convinced on the Apple Watch, and I might be trying to pull the trigger on an M50 because I have that same problem, and I'm all video. Because honestly, now with photos, we always have our iPhone with us, and it does such a good job. I mean, obviously not the job of a DSLR. My DSLR still takes better photos, but not enough for me to go whip that out and make sure the battery's charged. So yeah, I want to see this video though. I'm interested to see.
Yeah, so you won't hear anything because it's really just about the image. But so I just a little play on it. I put the camera in the trunk and just wanted to see how quickly does it transition to see where I'm at. So you see how quickly it does that. So I'm talking into it. It's tracking my face. It blurs out the background instantly.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so I'll move it
Dude.
about here or almost there. You see that I'll select the tree and my side of my face just goes blurry. Like that's how responsive it is. It's super quick.
So does that have a touch screen, or how are you selecting that tree?
Touch screen, and that's the best part too. All touch screen. If you have you can set up quick buttons. So if I wanted like a 1950s look right now, I can quickly do that within the camera on the go. I don't have to import it and then export it. It's all within the camera.
Oh, Addie, are those your wheel tracks going up on the grass there? Was that you?
No.
Addie was doing
off-roading.
Yeah.
In the park.
But hey, great that you could see those. Like you can see those
donuts
really
in the field.
The jitteriness, if you're watching the video, the jitteriness comes from the fact that she's trying to screen share. Yeah, screen share.
Yeah. So, and this is just a basic picture, and I don't know if it's coming through on the video, but just the details of this cloud going over the hills, like this is in itself was amazing. And this is a kit lens, and so was the video is kit lens. I haven't upgraded yet. I talked to Mike Murphy, and he's like, get comfortable first and then upgrade. Here's another simple picture. I should take more, and I will take more. And here's another just basic crowd picture here. But it's just simple things like that this camera is just amazing me, especially the video. The videos really just blew my mind on how easy it is. I don't know how to stop screen sharing. Oh, there we go.
And I think that's what a lot of us are looking for on these nowadays. And I noticed that I think in the specs it said 4K at 24 frames per second. Is there, when they say 4K, do you know what they're calling the specs? Can you jump down to like a 1440p and do it at 60 or 30 frames per second?
So that's the downside of the camera.
I think at that price point though, I mean, that's still amazing that it does 4K at 24, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't go any higher than that. And then it does a crop feature. So you would have to choose your 4K selectively. You have to know what you're doing with it. You can't depend on a lot of if you want a nice wider look, then you're probably not going to like how it responds in 4K. I'm not going to use a lot of 4K, and I don't feel the pressure because not a lot of people are adapting to it yet. I would say in about another 2 years, 4K is going to be important. As of right now, from what I want to do and from a learning perspective, I'm really comfortable what this camera does have to offer for the 1080p, 60 frames per second. The low light stuff is amazing. So yeah, I'll be making a lot more videos this coming year because of that camera.
Does it do any slow motion at 120, 240 frames if you jump it down to a low enough resolution?
It does do slow motion. I just don't know the frame, the per
Okay.
frames thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool because I'm the same way as you. I think, I do a lot of stuff. If I were to get back into this stuff, 1080p with a sharp looking 1080p with a camera like that, I mean, that is going to be sharp looking. The focus is great. I don't think anyone is ever going to complain. I think some people obviously like the 4K stuff, but I don't think, like you said, there's any really pressure to do it. And you could do it. And 24 frames is honestly, that's the great cinematic effect, right? You're not going to have the smooth 60 or 30, but a 24 is still more than good of it, especially if you were filming everything on that single camera. That would still look really, really sharp. So the fact that you can do it if you need to is nice. But you could jump down lower and get the higher frames if you want. Yeah, man, I'm sold. You did a good. I'm close to this hovering on buy button on Amazon.
I just wish I had more footage to demonstrate, but it's fairly new to me, and I'm just trying to get comfortable with it. Video is just amazing these days. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, Jim and Mike, but I actually ride a motorcycle, and I put a camera. It's not a GoPro, but it's a camera that goes to the side, and it's just amazing how technology you're able to, like, I rode a motorcycle 4 or 5 years ago, and they didn't have this tech where you can have the camera on your helmet and it takes legit good footage.
Right.
Now it's supreme 1080p. I can see people's license plate in post footage. I can see people's faces. I can hear them. The audio is amazing. So I think video, the people behind video right now are making some amazing stuff for us to simply use it and get out what we envision, and not just like import it into your computer and find like, whoa, how am I going to turn this messy image into something that I think is worth sharing with others?
Addie, do me a favor, mute your camera and then bring it back. We're at a little sync with you and all that screen sharing that we were doing. Just a reminder, while you're doing that, you may want to, for this part, you may want to head out to the YouTube video and just come over to the averageguy.tv and then put in /HGG383. That'll take you right to the page that has the video on it. If you're listening to it, you can head out to our YouTube page as well. Just search The Average Guy on YouTube and you can go out there and get that. We have a live page as well. If you just search, I don't know what you search to get The Average Guy live, I think maybe something like that. I should know all those things, but tonight we'll blame it on the cold and the cold medicine. We don't. Addie, great review. I think you've got Mike Uyghur sold. I see the eye of the tiger as I'm looking at.
Well, yeah, because you'll notice I have the Amazon page open. I'm just reading all the specs and everything. I'm extremely interested in this because that's exactly what I'm looking for that style of camera. And obviously, flip out screen, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't have.
I'll demonstrate that. I got my helmet too, by the way, to show you like the technology when it comes to motorcycles. Let's see. So this is the camera on the motorcycle attached to the helmet. And then that's the little camera. This little thing right here is a 1080p camera.
Nice compact right there.
Yeah. It doesn't get in the way. Yeah. You don't ever want these cameras to get in the way when you're riding, because people do put GoPros on top of their helmet or right in the chin. But then that's just adding weight where you shouldn't have weight. And it threw me off. And then this microphone that comes along with it, really clean audio for phone calls. People always tell me if I ever pick up a phone call and I'm riding my motorcycle, they're like, wow, I can't tell that you're on your motorcycle until you've come to a stop and you can hear the engine in the background. Other than that, it cancels out the road noise really good.
I listened to two YouTubers it's called ADV Adventure China, and they do their podcasts on their motorcycles using now they've front mounted their GoPros, but they do that using those microphones. And I was always wondering how they were getting such clear audio in their helmets, and it's that.
Yeah, so it's called a Sena 10C. That's the exact one that I have attached to my helmet. The audio is amazing. They give you two different types of audio inputs. one little microphone that you can attach with inside the helmet that goes to the wall, or the one that I showed you. I don't know what that one's called, but two different types.
SENA is Cena. Is that correct?
Sorry, let me see. Let me double check.
I'm correcting these
CENA 10C. Yeah. SENA
10C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that microphone, is that in on the inside as well? The one that you just showed us? Is that tucked inside?
Yeah, it's tucked inside. It's connected. It comes with the camera kit. So you don't
physically
have to buy.
Connected?
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see it here. I can probably brighten this lamp up a little bit.
Oh, there we go.
So here is this cord right here.
Yeah.
Let's see. That cord is the microphone and the antenna. So there's also an antenna so that you can listen to AM, FM radio if you want.
Oh, nice.
Also, the antenna does help with range so that if other motorcyclists are on the road with you and you want to connect with them, you just kind of hit it like 1, 2, 3 to accept their call, and then you can start talking to them. So it's two-way communication. Up to 4 other riders can connect to this device.
So then there's speakers on the inside too. So speakers and microphone.
Yeah, speakers, microphone. It's really hard because my helmet's black, so I can't.
Yeah.
But the little helmet, the little sound, I can even detach it. So that's the speaker.
Addie, not only are you the coolest person that I know, but you also ride a motorcycle.
No kidding.
Like, holy cow. That's pretty awesome.
But yeah. So
yeah.
Motorcycle, video tech. Like, I'm just really amazed with what people are doing with cameras these days, and video especially, making it so easy, because from the beginning, video has always been, it just takes too much storage. It's a battery juicer, just drains the battery super quick. And just to see these devices come to life now, where you can have this Canon with this small battery, it's super light. It's not heavy like a DSLR. It's compact. Same thing with the motorcycle thing. And these things last a good time for the amount of storage that you get and the quality that you're getting from the images. Oh, so flip side. So this is the full rotating. It's touch screen.
Touchscreen and rotating. Like, two things. So I have a Nikon D3300, which we mainly got for photographs. I got it for my wife, but I was trying to use it for video. No flip screen, no touchscreen. It's impossible to. And like I told you, the autofocus issue. So like, as a video guy and a solo man, there's no way you can run it. It just doesn't work. I gave up.
Yeah, that's the problem with DSLRs that don't have that's the problem I ran into. You need to get at least, at the very minimum, an extra helper to help you. Hey, make sure I'm in focus. Hey, make sure this is happening.
Right.
When I do this, it's just too much work. Whereas Canon and Sony's the other competitor to Canon that has brought this new tech to make it super easy, super simple, and quality. And this is how big the batteries are. They're super thin, lightweight. You can buy extra batteries for it. I think I bought the 2-pack for $20.
Those are the same Zmoto uses those for their cameras. That same size.
And then standard SD card?
Yeah, so which one did I get?
Single or dual SD cards?
Single. I think I have it attached to the computer right now. But you have to make sure it's a U3, a 10, Class C, things like that, just so that it grabs the video footage as quickly as possible, and it's gonna hold its storage. If you get a normal SD card, then you're probably, I think it would even reject it at some point.
Makes sense. I was really envious of my mother-in-law was a former photographer, and she has a really nice camera, dual card, and actually you can save the RAW to one and JPEG to another. So you would have two cards at the end, one with all your RAWs, one with all your JPEGs. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Obviously, that's going to bump into the $2,000-$3,000 range, but we're on such a fast trajectory with these cameras. Addie, you're telling me this camera is $600. I mean, it was only I think years ago, I bought this one for probably that same amount, and this just doesn't have any features. The prices on these things are just plummeting. Plummeting is not the right word, but coming down so fast. It's fantastic for people like me, who I'm like, hell, I can't really justify spending that. But hey, if this were to get down into the $600 range like this one is, that's a lot of features packed into a camera for $600.
Yeah, and what I like about it is that some of these type of technologies, you either have to just accept that it's good for one thing and not other things. Whereas this camera, I love the pictures and I love the video. Both in hand, I don't feel like one suffers more than the other. The video is super cool. The autofocus that it does with the video is amazing. That autofocus is also brought into picture mode. So the pictures that you take with it, it's amazing. So I can only imagine when I do upgrade the lenses, it's only going to get better from here. And once I learn, aperture and all those, Mike Murphy was telling me some triangle thing. So like the aperture. And yeah. So the
exposure triangle.
There you go.
Yep.
I have a lot to learn, but I can only imagine someone like you who does know all that stuff. You can do amazing things with this.
It would be fun. How is the onboard mic?
It's good. It's pretty clear.
Is that what you've been using when you do your test videos?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's super clear. I also have like a portable Rode mic that I can use the input. So that's actually
the battery powered one or the non-battery powered one? The battery powered one.
Oh,
nice. I bet that one just sounds amazing. Combined with that video, with that microphone, I bet that camera's just top notch. Okay, that's cool.
And then it has the Wi-Fi. So that's another cool feature about this camera.
Really?
You take pictures here, it almost instantly just sync it up with your phone app, and you have the pictures and video on your phone. The video takes a little longer.
I haven't taken
full quality.
Wow.
Yeah. This also takes the new technology that they're doing with pictures, which is compressed raw images, so that you can take more raw images and they're just compressed. I don't know if you've looked into the compressed raw images.
I've looked into Apple's new format, or maybe it's not Apple specifically, but what is that called? I don't know if it's that exact compressed raw, but same sort of high efficiency. I think it's HEFI, high efficiency file format, or something like that. High efficiency file image, HEFI, I think, something like that.
I think it's very similar. Just Canon just calls it compressed, raw CR3 file.
So much so I take a picture on my iPhone, and if I don't export it from the iPhone, if I just pull it off directly and try and open it up on a Windows machine, it's like, I don't know how to open this.
Yeah.
It's in this weird format that I have no idea how to run. So I actually have to export it out of my iPhone or out of Photos. Interesting. Okay, very cool. And you said this camera does that natively?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah. And you can also choose, if you don't want compressed or raw images, you can just go with the JPEG.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to put Addie on with Mike Howard, Jim.
Well, she mentioned Mike Murphy. Like, we're gonna have to have Murphy on here now. Like, I've started a photography podcast all of a sudden.
Right.
No,
Mike Murphy knows a lot of things.
We go in cycles. Yeah. Well, the last time I had Mike on, he was like, "Well, I don't have that many gadgets." He's gotten really minimalistic. But we could bring him on now that we've done this, and a whole bunch of people are going to buy cameras now. Especially Mike.
Yeah.
We could have some great conversations about all the tools needed to make these things work. I think that the motorcycle tech, we spent 10 minutes on it, maybe. I think there's some really cool stuff embedded in that, in helmets, and not just for motorcycle riding. I think those could go on ski helmets. Those could go on snowmobile helmets, right? There's a lot of usage in that space. I would love to be skiing and have all that. I have a skiing helmet that I rigged up that way myself. I wired in earbuds. I wired in the microphone underneath here so I could do all that. And I thought it was pretty cool when I was talking to people on the slopes. That was pretty sweet. But that's the gear has gotten pretty serious.
Oh yeah. Cena is, there's other tech, but I think hands down motorcyclists and I think skiers do use these cameras. It's easy. It's super, quality's clean. So like you're saying that people actually podcast, they use that audio to podcast. And there's a reason, because the audio is really clean. It also senses,
it fits in a gimbal too, right? So you could put it in a gimbal
and
do it that way.
Yeah. And then you can also use it with Siri. So if I just say H Siri and she turns on, or I think I tried it with Google Pixel. It also picked up that way too because it's responsive Bluetooth wise. So it just like your phone would act in your car with the Bluetooth technology. So it's the same thing with the device here on the Cena 10C. It's amazing. I love it. You can control the volume really quickly. You can just see it just has one wheel that you turn for volume. This is when you accept riders. This back here is to hang up. So there's quick buttons because the thing is, you're on a motorcycle. The last thing you want to do is be messing with your head. Like, I
And
need
you
to
have
do
gloves
this.
on, right?
Yeah,
In most
gloves.
cases, you have gloves, so it needs to be. It's just
Right.
got to be big and bulky, and well, it's cool.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's
Nice,
amazing.
Addie. You you brought it tonight. Let me just look. Let me just say, like, you kind of surprised me on all this. Like, I didn't. There's some things we didn't talk about yesterday that you just brought in here that were pretty great. So thanks for like a couple. I don't know, a couple months ago, I think or maybe a month or two ago, I reached out to you. I was like, we got to have you back on. You're like, I got some stuff. And I was like, yes, yes. So great job. We did tease out a little bit about the t-shirt and we are considering some new designs. Anything we said maybe a long sleeve and maybe a hoodie. Is that possible?
Yeah, so I don't have a design to reveal today, but you're going to have to stay tuned because that will be available soon, where we will have the long sleeve and we would have a hoodie for you. And it's going to be very specific to the year. So you're going to want in on this one because the OGs are out. Now we're going to go forward with new designs to kind of own the 2019 feel.
Yeah, nice. There'll be a 2019. Yeah. And so if you want to pick up the OG, that's going to be available, I think, maybe until the end of January at this point.
Yeah.
So head out to theaverageguy.tv/shirt. That gets you there. OG, once they're gone, they're gone. We're going to take them down. Like Addie mentioned, she's going to do a new design for 2019. Kind of a play off of what we currently do, but something unique to the year. And I'm looking forward to those. I need a hoodie. Who doesn't? And I've been getting into long sleeve lately too. So you'll wanna pick those up as well. We'll probably do like the averageguy.tv/store. No, let's do swag. So the averageguy.tv/swag. It's not there right now live, people. I need to make it. But we'll do the averageguy.tv/swag for the store. And that'll because we'll have multiple products in there that you can go in there and buy. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need a mug, Jim.
Okay.
Well,
Also.
Addie, what do you think? Can
We can make that happen too.
All right.
Yeah.
averageguy.tv/swag. Let me just write this down so I don't forget about it. And so that's coming up. You'll want to get if you haven't gotten the OG that Ryan says, so does that mean my OG shirt is going to go up in value? It absolutely will.
Yeah.
Maybe not tomorrow, but it will. Eventually, Ryan. I don't know if it will or not.
Got
but
two of those too.
If you got
Hannah has one and I have one.
I need to get one for Sarah before they go. That was
Right.
actually that made her Christmas list. I actually think she'd rather have the 2019 hoodie. She likes wearing hoodies as well. My daughter would probably take the hoodie.
Oh,
So
Hannah will want a hoodie for sure.
Oh yeah.
Hannah's a hoodie gal.
They'll want the hoodies. For sure. I think those will be really, really popular. Joe is asking for a Stein. So I don't know. We'll kick out at least a mug and a hoodie and a long sleeve.
You have a Stein, like business in the morning, party at night kind of thing. Coffee in the morning to get you going.
That's right. There
Some
you
nice
go.
Brickway beer in the evening.
Ooh. Yeah. You had to say Brickway beer, didn't you?
I had to say Brickway.
You had
beer
to tease me
because I'm still upset that their holiday beer is not at my local Hy-Vee.
You got to go downtown and pick it up.
I know. I'm just never down that way. My office is out here. I'm out here. I never make it past 132nd, Jim. I don't drive.
Tomorrow I can swing by Brickway for you and pick that up. If I was a good co-host, I would swing by Brickway because I'm down there every day. So
no, I just need to go. Well, you know what I need to do, Jim, is like I've been going past there to go on vacations, and we're going down to Falls City this weekend. I'll just on my way out of town grab some and take it down. I'm sure my father-in-law would love that. So
yeah.
that needs to be
there you go. Good call. Addie, thanks for racing home tonight, and thank you for being on here. It's always a joy to have you. Thanks for coming out on Saturday mornings. We do Ask the Podcast Coach. We get to see you out there as well. I think you filled in for me over there when I can't make it on Saturdays, but appreciate you coming out tonight. Thanks for all that you do for the community as well. Where do folks find for your podcast planner stuff? Where do folks find that?
No, well, first of all, just thank you for having me. There's a reason why I continue to come back to the show. Like, I love it. It's fun to talk tech. I don't have a lot of people to talk tech with and just share, how I'm using it. And I get a lot of value hearing how you guys use tech, and I upgrade the house and things like that. So thank you for allowing me to be part of this. Like, it's really cool. I feel like I'm part of the club.
You are super welcome. And we're glad you brought the overall female value of the podcast up just by being here. So we get Emily in here from time to time as well. But thanks for representing the ladies.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. And everything, just go to thepodcastplanner.com and you'll find all my links there if you want to follow me on social media, or if you're interested in podcasting and want the planner, just go to thepodcastplanner.com. That's the best way.
Super good. That'll be in the show notes. I'll work on those. I have a very, very late project for work that I have to work on tonight. I have to stay up till 1 for it. So I'm going to try tonight. Mike and I are going to talk some crypto in the post show. By the way, you only get the post show. No, that's not true. But you do have to head over to Patreon to get that done. theaverageguy.tv/Patreon if you want to catch the post show in crypto. Mike and I will stay on and talk a little bit about that. But I'm hoping to stretch out tonight a little bit longer, because staying up till 1 is going to be tough, and I'm not feeling well, but I got to stay up till 1 to get this project done. So I'll be doing that tonight. Mike?
Well, I was gonna tease a little bit for our people for next week. We're doing a show next week, right, Jim?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I've been doing a whole network server rack. You guys, it had been a month and I hadn't done anything in my server rack, so obviously I needed to just totally wipe something and start new. So we went away from pfSense. I still love pfSense, by the way, still great. Went to Untangle. Also fired up a new Unraid box. So next week, if you guys want to hear about kind of my experience, what I think about Untangle, what I think about doing 2 Unraid boxes in the same home. I'll be talking about that a little bit maybe next week, if not in the regular show, either in the pre-show or post-show. So I'll work that in at some point next week. So if you guys want to, if that tickles your fancy, let me tell you, if you're into routers and if you're into pfSense, and you definitely want to hear about Untangle. So
yeah, stay around for the holidays. We're not taking any breaks. Mike talked about that. And then on the 3rd, Paul Braren is coming back. And Paul, listen, if you're not catching Paul Braren, those are great shows. They're all great shows. I don't know why you would miss any of them, to be honest with you. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at theaverageguy.tv/live. Lots of great stuff going on here. And we've gone long enough. You should catch us live. Come out and join us during the holidays. You're not working anyways, right? Most people are taking the holidays off. Come back next week. If you're listening to this maybe early in the week, or maybe it's Christmas, or maybe you're traveling and you're listening to us, come out and join us next Thursday live. We'd love to have you out here to get that done. If you're listening live, stay around a little bit for the post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody. So hey, if you made it, hold on. If you made it this far, you've made it to the post show on Patreon. Congratulations. If you missed this show, you got to go back. 383, you got to go back and listen to it. So just stop this. Get over theaverageguy.tv/HGG383. Get over there and listen to it. It's long, but let me tell you, it's got so much good stuff in it. And Addie's in it. Addie, thank you for being in it. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a lot of fun.
It was super fun. We talked about all kinds of great stuff. Addie, we won't hold you any longer because I know you have real things to do when Mike and I are just goofing off. But thanks for doing what you did, and thanks for being with us tonight.
I need one more. I need her to answer one more question. From a woman's perspective, if I put this under the tree to Hannah, to my wife, like this camera, is that okay? And then I start using it?
No. I think it's okay.
She loves photography, and she has 2 little boys that she loves taking pictures of.
That's what I was thinking when you asked that. Like, this is perfect.
But I did the same thing with this. I got it for her, and then I was like, so I'm going to start using this on my videos. But then gradually, this is now hers. So I think if I put this under the tree to her, But we agree. We also have a pact no presents this year. So I would be
Okay.
breaking a pact, and I'd be getting her something that secretly I'd want to use all the time.
Yeah, I would say hold off then.
It's the thought that counts, though, right?
Don't break. Yeah.
Just buy it for yourself, man.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know, Jim. I think I'd be in less trouble if I got it for her.
Yeah.
And I used it.
You know her better than we do.
For the
so.
kids. For
Yes,
the
but the kids, see, but the
Yeah.
kids, they need to be
If
photographed in high quality.
If you haven't caught the show, what Mike is talking about is a Canon M50 is what he's talking about. So
Yeah.
we just did a whole bunch of stuff on that, and Mike is now asking if it's okay to buy. That's always been a big no-no for me. After 30 years of marriage, I think I finally learned, do not buy presents for yourself, but give them to your wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
I'm going on year 4, so maybe I shouldn't rock the boat.
My couch
quite
is
yet.
comfortable, says Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm still easily expendable, so maybe I should play it safe.
You might want to not do that. So yeah, it's a trap. That's what Joe said. So it's a trap. Don't do it.
All right.
Don't do it. Addie, thanks for coming out tonight. We appreciate
Thank you for having me, and happy holidays to everybody.
Yeah, you
Happy
bet. Have a Merry
New Year.
Christmas.
Yeah.
You bet.
See you
Take care.
guys. Good night.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Mike, I teased this a little bit in the pre-show, but I shut off one of my burst boxes.
Yeah, you said that, and then you didn't let me ask any questions. I've been in suspense this whole time. I said, "Did you shut it off permanently?" You said, "Just wait till the post show." So what's the story?
Well, I was having some problems. I was having one of the drives just dropping all the time. So it was on the big box. I have a big Core i7 box that kind of runs.
You have 2 boxes that are running normally.
I had 4 boxes running.
Oh, you have 4 different machines running.
Yeah, we were trying to get those seek times to about 20 seconds. And of course, every time they run, it just takes us, there's a certain amount of bandwidth that you have. And so to keep those round times under 20 seconds, I kind of distributed everything around different drives, different, I have a mix of USB and SATA and all kinds of crazy stuff. So had one of the USB 3 8 terabyte drives just kept dropping off this box, and no matter where I moved it around in that box, it didn't like it. And so I tried it on another computer, and it worked. It just stayed. So it didn't like, there was something between that drive and that computer.
Right.
So I thought, well, shoot, since I'm moving stuff around, let's just kind of figure out what I can consolidate. And I ended up having in the HP N40L. If for folks who've listened to me for a long time, that's like an old home server box from like 6 years ago, maybe. I had that thing just loaded up with 2-3 terabyte SATA drives. So there's only 6 terabytes in there. And I started thinking, I wonder if I can move that thing around and use some of the docks that I have. And sure enough, after swapping some things around, I got all 67 terabytes on 3 boxes, everything under 20 seconds. And it's been stable for a week. So I was pretty proud of myself. It's sitting right here, but it's off. And I don't know if I'm going to turn it back on, to be honest. It's with us potentially moving this summer, I just need to get a lower footprint in what I'm doing. And it's a really bad box. I mean, it's awful. It's the processor on it sucks. It only has 4 gig of RAM. Yeah, it's got some storage bays on it, and it would probably make a really good PFSense box. But I don't know. No, I think it's gonna go away. So I got everything down to 3 boxes, which I know sounds obsessive, and maybe like running 3 boxes and 67 terabytes for burst. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm having a good time doing it, and it's fun. It is a fun project, and the community, like I said, is so great out there. For the burst community is really good. It reminds me of the home server show community in a lot of ways.
Totally agree. But then you followed up your story when you were teasing it with that you had one of your best weeks ever. So running on 3 boxes, 67 terabytes, and you still had one of your best weeks on burst?
Yeah. No, it's going really, really well. I will probably do 500 and something coin this week by the time we're done. It kind of depends on how the network goes. I actually forged 3 blocks this week in a week. Like I haven't had 3 blocks. Oh. Yeah.
Has the difficulty gone down a lot in burst?
Here's the deal. It's been a bad Windows month. And if you have not been paying attention to the rollouts for Windows, right? 1809 rolled out, and then a critical patch rolled out today or yesterday.
Oh, interesting.
Or maybe Tuesday. So a lot of people have been getting rebooted, and their miners, they don't have it set up where their miners automatically come
Right.
back on.
So they're not paying attention to that.
Okay. Well, I'm paying attention. So because I've been working on this so much, every time I go in, I'm like, oh, let me see if there's any updates. So I got everything updated to 1809, and then this critical patch came through, and I'm like, well, I might as well. I was homesick. I might as well get them rebooted while I'm sitting here.
Right.
So I rebooted everything today. The effective pool capacity is down to about 7,000 terabytes right now, or 7 petabytes. It's been as high as 9. And so I think there's some miners that are offline, and that's benefiting if you stay on and everybody else goes down. I don't think it's just our pool. I mean, I think all the pools are struggling.
Well, but especially your pool, because I was in that pool for a while, and they definitely are doing the right stuff, right? Like your pool, at least back when I was in it, it might have changed, but they definitely didn't have the most capacity, but they were hitting blocks far more often than other pools for how much capacity they have. It all comes down to, you know, the word I don't, just essentially the efficiency of the mining. They do a great job over there of making it really efficient.
Yeah. Well, so for whatever reason, even though my effective capacity has not been great, I hit 3 blocks this week. And I was going 3 weeks without hitting a block. Now, it doesn't matter because I'm in a pool, and we're in a 0-100 pool. So which means when you hit a block, you don't get any of the block. It goes all into the pool, and the pool shares it. But the pool has been pretty aggressive this week as well. And Ron was asking how much is a coin? What does that equal to? Burst is, I don't know right now, tenths of cents maybe per coin at this point, right? I think the price 0.0015.
It is. Let me pull it up. 0.005.
Well,
half a cent.
That's actually
up 10%. Yeah,
actually up a little bit. So, you know, at its peak, it was maybe 10 cents. So that gives you kind of some scale on where it's at, where it's been.
Was it up to 10 cents?
Yeah, 9. Yeah,
wow.
9 something at its peak. Yeah, at the very, very peak with everything else. And then it wasn't very long.
Okay.
Maybe it was only like 7. I don't know. Doesn't matter. When I did the math, I figured it would be between 5 and 10. That was like profitability calculator was between 5 and 10 cents a coin. So, you know, I have almost 35,000 of those things now. So all of a sudden they start, you know, if that thing moves, if it could move up to 10 cents, well, it's not a bad little payday. So,
yeah, no kidding.
For nothing, for basically just running hard drives. I mean, it doesn't take that much power.
No.
Since I've stopped mining GPU mining, I got my power bill and it's way back down again. And so I know Burst isn't taking that much because it went back to where it was before. So even running Burst full time, it just doesn't take that much power. Burst is still a great way to get into crypto and not really have to. If you're a server guy and you got a bunch of that storage anyways, it's a good way to get in and mess around with it. So,
yeah, I think speaking of energy, I don't know if you saw Paul's Hardware. Do you follow him on YouTube?
I do.
So he over the summer, he went through, actually for the last year, he's gone through the process of getting, I think he's in Southern California, but he went through the process of getting solar panels and the Tesla Powerwall. So he's got the power bank with the panels. And yesterday or sometime this week, he just released his video where he talked about, okay, I got it installed in June. What's been the economics of it? So between then and now, he goes through the average, how much his solar panels were bringing in, how much his house was actually using from the bank compared to how much it was pulling off the grid. And for him, Southern California, you got to remember, so they get a lot of sun, 11 and a half years to pay off the investment. Then that's including the tax credit that they're getting right now. So I think it was like about a $10,000 tax credit because I think it was $32,000 to put in the system, solar panels and the Tesla power bank. $10,000 tax credit, so $22,000 total. And I think he said he was saving about $170 a month in energy. October, he actually got a credit back from the energy because he was providing power back to the grid more than he was consuming. you're talking about the power stuff, and I've been constantly thinking, Jim, about, what's the investment? How long am I going to be in this house? Because the solar thing is just so intriguing to me. I for this house, Jim, I don't know if I just don't know my plans for this house. So I'm not sure enough to make that investment. That's a big investment to make. 32 grand. I know it's 22 with tax credits. If you can't, I wouldn't pay that in cash now. I think if you had cash available to pay that, maybe that's worth it. But I think the installment plan and stuff like that, I just don't know if it makes sense for most people. If you don't plan on being if you don't know this for certainty you're going to be in your house. But if you know you're going to be in that house, and if you live in a place that gets good sun, man, that's a really strong consideration now for solar.
Yeah. I've thought a lot about it. I mean, I thought a lot about it last year when crypto was ramping up, and it's like, man, it would be great. It'd be great to get all these, just to set up panels, separate them from the grid, and just run all this crypto off of it. And you started doing the math, and you're like, okay, well, that could be interesting. It would pay for itself, and then everything after that would be gravy. Crypto in Nebraska solar in Nebraska is not great.
It's not terrible though.
No, it's not terrible. It's just not great.
Yeah, it's not Southern California.
No,
right?
Where they have 367 days of sunshine.
Yeah.
And
32 grand. I mean, that was him all in. And he has, I can't remember how many solar panels he got. He got a good amount of them. I think he said that most people in areas that don't get as much sun in Southern California just add more solar panels. Obviously, it increases the installation fee, but you get more wattage. I was actually surprised how much it dipped down and how much his home was actually fully running off of solar and the power bank. I think his average energy bill went from being like 190 to 200 to about $10 to $12 a month. So from 190, $180 a month to 12 to 10, that's a really significant jump. And you think anything past, so he said that his solar panels had it's either 20 or 30. I think it was a 20-year warranty on those solar panels. The power bank itself had a 10-year warranty. So he said, he's like, I hope if my power bank's going to go out, it goes out before 10 years, get it replaced for free. Because 11 years was his payoff period. So he's like, my solar panels I know are good. Those are going to last me. Everything after that is just gravy. I mean, after that point, after that 11 years, you're having $10 power bills going forward. Yeah. Now, the one thing I think about that though, I think we're too early in solar. I think we'll see some major advances in the next 11 years that'll make the investment much more worth it to wait. Yeah. That was my kind of analysis of it.
Yeah. I'm still not sure it'll ever make sense in my lifetime as a consumer.
Really?
To make the investment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it will.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, Mike. I mean, just from I think a solar is a 20 or 30 year investment for most people. It's a power plant.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I don't know. We're going to move, and I'm really thinking the next house is a 15 or 20 year house. And I just don't know if it really pays off yet in that time frame. I think you break even or you get close, and his 11 years is probably more going to be like 15. Just to be honest, it never really works out. It's always a little bit longer than you think. Now, it depends on where energy goes. Oil is dropping like a rock right now. I mean, it's like $40 a barrel. Last time this dropped, we saw gas prices in the dollar. It was a buck and something, $1.50, $1.79. Like, I think by January, we could be seeing record low energy prices. That never fares well for energy overall. I mean, energy goes the way gasoline goes in a lot of ways. So that means natural gas prices will be pretty cheap. That gasoline will be pretty cheap. The heating costs. So, you have a few winters like that. That extends that out even longer when you think about the payoff for it. So, I don't know. That's just kind of my thought. I think, until we really lock up fossil fuels and stop burning coal at the rate we're burning it in the East, and that becomes, that's a major source of energy. Until they stop doing that, and that pushes up the overall cost of fuel for everything else from a usage standpoint, and then that starts drawing more and more resources to solar. Here in the United States, anyways. In Europe, it's a whole different story. Like in Germany, solar makes sense everywhere just because their infrastructure is so good at it. So many Germans are putting solar panels on their roof. Now, talk about a terrible environment for solar. Germany does not have a good solar footprint, and yet they have made it work in that country. The United States, we're not there yet. So I just don't, I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Well, and to be honest, Jim, where you and I live here in Nebraska, our power charges are not very high.
No,
he was talking about the benefits in California. The power bank running was that in your peak hours later at night, where your energy company charges you more, you're running off your power bank, and we don't have that here, Jim. We don't have peak usage. We don't have any of that. Our power's probably, when you think about the United States, we're probably the cheapest, I think, or at least pretty close.
There's a lot of advantages to it. Now we're pulling out more and more hydro. So we're getting less hydro in the United States than we've ever had. Dams are coming down. Hydro is losing favor in this country. Nobody wants to build new dams. It's just not happening. Wind out here in Nebraska, getting better, but wind's kind of a crapshoot. It is not the haymaking, energy making thing they thought it would be. We're getting these big, I go down to Maryville and I see hundreds of them in Missouri. Out in western Nebraska, hundreds of them, these big ones. But you can't, like the average consumer can't do wind. Like
farmers love them though. The amount of money they get from putting one of those just in the middle, and the little amount of corn they lose from their crops.
Or that in a cell tower, right? Every farmer wants a cell tower in their field, right?
My father-in-law's just waiting for someone to offer a windmill on his land.
Yeah. Well, a lot going in. I just don't know if they're the generators that people think they are. And they've got some environmental concerns with them. Like, birds don't know what to do with these things yet, and they're running into them and killing them, and they're damaging them. And, there's lots of things to go with that. You get a big enough bird to run into those blades. And those things are so finely built and balanced. You mess up a blade, man, the repair costs on those things are huge. So wind's tough. Like, wind is a tough sell. Brian says in Texas, they're already down to $1.70 in North Texas for gas. So it's weird to think, Mike, like all of a sudden when you have falling energy prices, that in an environment we're trying so desperately to get solar working in, doesn't play into its favor. Hybrid cars, when gas was $4.50 a gallon, hybrid cars, of course, when I bought mine, sold at its peak. Now, you're like, gas, I can buy a lot of gas at $1.70 a gallon.
Totally. Well, and it was so funny. We just did, like I told you, we went to Nashville last weekend. I was surprised, Jim, at the massive swing there was between states on gas prices. I'm talking 30 to 40 cent swings. We would be in one state. I think our lowest amount we paid for gas was $1.80. So still 10 cents more expensive than where Brian's at. But we were also paying when we stayed, at the cheapest price of fuel. We were paying up to $2.30. So, you're talking a 50-cent swing on the cheapest gas. Yeah. Between states and even between cities in those states. Taxes, crazy.
Right. Taxes are what get you on those.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of cases, a lot of states use.
Well, and some of the states have the whole, what do you call it? I should know this being from Nebraska. The corn stuff.
Oh, ethanol.
Ethanol. Thank you. Ethanol amounts and the breaks they get for that.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone I'm from Nebraska and I forgot the word ethanol. It's not very.
Well, it's not as popular as it used to be.
No, it's not. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. We were a big ethanol state for a lot of, and then some weird things happened, on that last big boom. And then there were some real concerns that, like, should we really be tying our fuel supply to our food supply? And that scared some people. Like, all of a sudden, when gas got really expensive, and then corn entered into the market, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, it's really profitable to make fuel out of this corn instead of food. And then, of course, that's just not for humans. Like, in corn production, right? Humans make up a very small percentage of what's actually consumed of the corn. Most of it goes into feed.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's your other food sources that
Yeah,
are fed. By the
okay.
corn.
So now, if farmers are paying more to feed the cattle, milk prices go up, beef prices go up. Uh, you know, pigs eat that stuff, so pig prices go up. I mean, it
Leather
hits
goes up.
so yeah, the the effect on the food supply of the pricing on the food supply. I don't think anybody had thought all the way through that. And so when prices came back down and in ethanol production, I heard the most anti-ethanol statements after that big price run up here in Nebraska of like, well, maybe it's not a good idea to tie your food supply to your fuel supply. And there's been a lot of work done on getting it out of algae and some other things now like that you can get that same thing from. So I don't know. I just, I don't hear the favor in the state like I did before. Like, I think 10 years ago, we were like, oh, ethanol will solve every fuel problem we've ever had. That's the way to go. I'm not hearing as many people saying that these days here in the state.
Exactly.
It's kind of interesting. Um, Speaking of prices going up, we did have a little shocker. If you're not paying attention on the crypto side, we did, we bottomed out at about 3,000 on Bitcoin. And right now, I think we're trading at 4.
A little above 4.
Yeah, that's not a bad little 32.
4,103.
32 is probably the bottom. 3,200 was probably the bottom for us. And then 4,000. Yeah. What did you say?
4,103.
Yeah.
So my overall portfolio, I have Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Tron, Siacoin, and Burst. So my overall 24-hour period is up 9.5%. So a pretty good last 24 hours we've had.
Yeah.
And then that number's gone down because actually I think the main hours it went up was a little bit on yesterday. So yesterday we had a good day. So I think if I had told you this number probably a few hours ago, we would have been in the 15 to 16% increase range.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, December 14th, 6 p.m. is the low point, 31.79 from Coinbase. And we're talking $1,000 change in that. That's a pretty good 25%. Pretty good. Now it's down 71% for the year. Let's just be really clear on that. But I think that's okay. It's a nice little bounce. Will it be a dead cat bounce? Who knows? Ron was asking me, is this a good time? Will we see Bitcoin come back? Well, I don't know. I'm not that good of a guess at telling the future. Does this little bump mean it will? I don't know. I don't have that kind of fortune telling power. I do. I sold all my Ethereum, put it in Bitcoin just because I'm kind of consolidating. I have almost exactly the same holdings as you do. Some Tron, I got a bunch of Burst. There's some other things I'm doing. I'm still mining off and on Sia Prime, just because it's the difficulty so low, and you can and
might as well
messing around with that a little bit just because it's fun. It's like, for me, it's like building model cars or flying drones or doing basket weaving. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So I think I'd still get into Burst right now if I had a bunch of hard drive space and I was just looking to get in. I think I might get in on Burst still. I don't think it's too late.
Well, it's one of the few ones that for the average person who just has stuff lying around their home or office or whatever, you could probably get into, right? Like GPU mining, besides Prime on
Prime
so
or Tube, BitTube. I've been doing GPU on BitTube because it's
besides
Monero
those
based.
two, which me personally, I'm not going to do. I'm not going to spend the money to fire up those cards on that. Just me personally. I think if you have hard drive space, Burst, I'd still be going after Burst.
BitTube's kind of one to look at. I mean, it's a nickel. Well, it's between 3 and a nickel, 3 cents and a nickel, a coin. it burns very low. It's a Monero based coin, and so it's actually super easy and energy efficient to mine. It uses about 60% of a normal CPU energy to get the coin out of it, which is kind of interesting. I mine 5 a day on 2 cards. So if it's 15 cents, right? It's not very good, to be honest. But I don't know if I'm in power, if I'm is the math right on that? 5 a day, 3 cents. Yeah, 15. So but it's an interesting project. It's not hard. I'm not doing anything with these cards anyways. It's interesting, right? I'm not I'm doing it just to stay because I want to be able to talk about
it. And
the
community, like you said, is so good. You should stay in.
Yeah. Ron, I don't know what you mean by that. What you just put in the chat. I don't understand that. So, that being said, Mike, I think crypto continues to just stay interesting. I just, it's kind of out there and it's just kind of tickling on the side. I had a big argument at work with somebody about this. Amish, he's been on the show before. He was like, "Oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." I'm like, "Yeah, it's actually pretty stupid." And when Vinton was here, he was like, "This is the stupidest thing in the world." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is pretty stupid, but it's kind of fun stupid." Like, yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just super interested. I come home every day. I have a routine where I turn some things on. I check some stuff, make sure things are running. I run my I get my reward points from the Microsoft. I get those Microsoft credits, which I will use for an Xbox Live subscription. That's gonna happen.
So once you get enough, maybe that's when you get your Xbox.
I just need I think I'm gonna wait till after Christmas, and not for a deal or anything, just for time. It's stuff that's going on. But I am picking up an Apple Watch. I mean, I'm buying one from Sprint. That's a
you
no-brainer.
Are doing it?
It's a no-brainer. It's a no freaking brainer with the EKG thing and
yes.
What I do. Yeah,
dude,
I'm in.
I'm pumped.
I'm in. Yeah,
I'm pumped. Go do it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go down to the Sprint store and pick it up. So,
and you have Bluetooth headphones, right?
I do. I do have a nice pair of I have a nice pair of Bose.
When you go on a run with your watch, no phone, and you can still get important calls if you need them, but you've got your music, you've got your tracking. Yeah, I'm
not sure I'd use it that way, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, because I most of my stuff now, maybe in the stairs when I'm running stairs and I'm indoors, I'm not really going out in winter.
So maybe don't get the cellular. Maybe don't waste the
anymore.
Money. Because if you're not going to go away without your phone, you don't need the cellular.
Yeah, but you never know when you're
true.
Like, you never know. And it's not that much more.
No. And it allows you to do the installments over 24 months or whatever.
Yeah. So, I don't, I watch a lot of YouTube on the treadmill now because I'm walking and I'm walking a lot. And so, and I right now I'm just playing those. I won't wear those Bose headphones when that's just not going to happen. That's those aren't workouts.
I didn't know if you had.
No, I'm going to get some. I'm going to get some.
There you go.
I'm going to get some. Yeah.
So then when you do that, then there's no reason to have your phone when you're working out.
If I'm total, except to watch YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So like that's my use case is a little bit different, but still the same. It's still worth it.
You can watch YouTube while you're working out. Are you really even working out?
I'm walking. Yeah. It's so great.
I'm doing
I did an hour. I got 4 miles in the other day in an hour and some change. And I got off. I was like, I didn't even feel like it was 4 miles. It's still a workout. It's still the same as running 4 miles. I mean, and it's less hard on my body. It's still cardio wise. It's very similar.
I don't know if it is though, right? Like you're not getting your heart rate up to that peak, like really working hard.
I do other workouts to get my heart rate up. Yeah.
I was trying to save you time because I'm like, you could just go really hard for 20 minutes and be done.
No, see, I have these YouTube videos that I want to watch. Like I have all these YouTube videos that I want to watch. This is when I watch them, is when I'm on, like,
you need to go to the restroom more.
I watch it in there too.
Yeah, trust me, I'm taking advantage of that time as well.
Ryan says he's going to need a CES week challenge for the Fitbit group. Yeah. Well, I won't be there,
When
Ryan,
is CES? It's soon.
first week of January. Yeah, that never works for me anymore. Work is too busy. Tomorrow's my last day for the year. So get in, get out. I'm hoping to be able to make it. We'll see. I'm going to absolutely come flying apart on Saturday. Like my body is just going to crash. It's not going to be good.
Hopefully you're just feeling better.
Yeah, well, my voice is going. I don't feel so bad. It's just my voice now. So, guys, if you're joining us live, speaking of the bathroom, I need to get there. I drank a whole bunch of Emergency. Have you ever taken that?
I love that stuff.
Yeah. So I've been guzzling it, just trying.
They have it in really good chewable form. You can get little gummies. They're orange shaped. Oh, they're so good.
I had a whole big can of that. So I went to Walgreens to get some. And like the whole thing was like $24, but the price was listed as $9. They had it mispriced. So I went up there and she was like, "It's like $25." And she looks at me. I'm like, "It said $9." And the manager goes, "Just give it to him for $9." Sweet. So I would eat them in the office like candy. And
me too. Yeah.
They were like the orange. They're
like the orange shaped ones. Yep. But they're really hard to get out of the bottom. I had to stick a knife out because all that stuff sinks down to the bottom. So your bottom ones, you're getting a lot of vitamin C. Your top ones, you're getting like minimum level vitamin C. The darkness of orange really tells you how good of a concentrate you're getting of that vitamin C.
I was super conscious though. It says don't eat any more than 3 a day or something like that.
4, I think.
Yeah, 3. So I would limit myself. I would take 3 out, set them on my desk, and then I would only eat those in a day, so I wasn't getting too much. But we have the emergency packets.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
So I think I've done 2 or maybe 3 today, just to try and keep.
Hey, where that stuff works, I think it helps.
Well, they say lots of fluids. Joe has been on the treadmill. He's been crushing it in the Fitbit groups because he's on the treadmill all the time. And he said his treadmill just overheated on him a minute ago, so he had to stop. He's getting 20 or 25,000 steps in a day. That's pretty great. Joe, if you're losing weight doing that too, awesome. Good for you. I'm continuing to pack it on. I'm kind of wondering if it's the meds I'm on because I just can't, no matter what I do, I'm having trouble losing anything. So I don't know. We'll have to see. That Apple Watch is going to fix everything, dude.
There you go. Well, that'll motivate me, Jim, to get back into it because I've been kind of slacking a little bit because I lost 30 pounds, but I'm back up about 4.5.
Yeah, you're looking good, man. I need
to get back into it though. I'm starting to creep back up. So
your Nashville pictures look good. I was like, dang.
Especially Hannah. Not even me, but Hannah's just been killing it. So yeah, I need to make sure I stay on top of it.
You don't want Hannah looking around like, well,
I know,
because
now she's getting exactly right, and I am now. I'm the pudgy one. So
that's all right. Hey, if you're watching live, thanks for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. We'll catch you guys here next week. See you.